Hey listener, this is Venice, and you're listening to Voice from the Underground, hosted by
Big Head, you know what I'm saying, in church.
If this is your first time listening, here's a little insight.
They be fighting the power, talking about social issues, politics, you know what I'm saying? And not only that, but they be keeping it fun with the sports, music, comics, and movies too.
If you like what you hear, leave us a rating and share our show with your friends.
You know what I'm saying? We on Twitter at VFU Podcast. So you can find them. So check 1, 2. This is Flavor Flav for the Underground Podcast. Yeah, boy.
Welcome to the Underground.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Voice from the Underground, the podcast.
Yeah. Who is Venice? Is that somebody's girlfriend?
Who is who?
Who's Venice? The one who says, this is Venice.
Yes, that's Venice. She's our voiceover girl. So she's actually a sweetheart. Hello, Venice, if you're out there.
Hey, Venice.
But the podcast where politics and pop culture collide. So actually, I'm glad you asked that question because a few people have asked that before, and we don't always talk about that. So thank you to Venice for the voiceovers that you've done for us, many in the past. And also here with Big Hussein, who is, you're staring at his wall right now. There he is. Look at that little spin move.
Hello.
He's spun moved into the room, and
Classy
Mikey and Tifa, better known from the Boondocks cartoon.
Wow.
Also
That's
with
an
us
honor.
today is
I'll take that.
DJ Bobby Lopez from the American Conservative Movement and host of the Big Brown Gadfly podcast.
Big Brown Gadfly is my show. Yeah.
Yes. So we jumped right into things today. We're going to jump right into things because we only have Bobby for 20, 30 minutes.
Bobby,
We're going to try to keep Bobby as long as we can.
Okay.
Bobby's conservative, real quick, for those who don't know. He actually is pro universal health care. He's one of those conservatives who's on our side on a couple things, but not on our side on others. So because we only have him for a few minutes, we're going to jump right into election fraud, because I will say he is posting constantly that this election was stolen.
Mhm.
So with the permission of my two co-hosts here, and Mikey, if you can maybe get that video somewhat ready.
Already did. You think
Thank you.
with an amateur?
Right.
Yes. Bobby, go. The floor is yours, Rudy Giuliani, without the makeup running down the side of your face.
Okay. All right.
That Beijing king.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the discussions about election fraud go nowhere. This is an area on which I think it's almost impossible to have a productive conversation between people who have looked at the facts and are arriving at different conclusions. So why don't we, to try to make it somewhat productive, why don't you start out by telling me because the thing that you're always telling me on Twitter is, where's the evidence? So what would you call evidence in an event where a crime like this was committed? What would constitute evidence of the crime?
Well, I think that just briefly, I would also say that you guys don't really need evidence because you've already come to the conclusion without it. But to answer your question directly,
there are
proof
facts
that there is fraud, proof that there is a widespread conspiracy between apparently Venezuela, China, Russia, the Clinton Foundation, Joe Biden, the governor of Georgia, and to say, okay, we went in and we changed votes for Biden. So you have to show me that there are envelopes that came in that were, videotape of people bringing in boxes, whatever it is that you want to show. But they're showing zero.
You got to also prove that all of the courts that have been laughing these suits out of court are in on the conspiracy as well.
Okay,
Because
well,
let's start with the counts. So you're saying that Dominion switched votes.
So here's the thing. So you're already, number one, you're starting out by grouping together a bunch of stuff that other people have said online that I can't really.
Oh, it's the truth.
Speak to all that other stuff. But you're starting out by setting a bar, saying that I have to prove that the the judges are in on this? Because that
Well, they would have to be, wouldn't they? They would
No,
have to
they
be
wouldn't have to be.
if there's
No,
obvious
they
evidence
wouldn't
that
have
they're
to
throwing
be.
out of court.
They wouldn't have to be they wouldn't have to be if they're following some kind of philosophy of jurisprudence, and if it's just what has been presented to them isn't enough at the time when it was presented before them, or for the type of hearing that they had, it wouldn't matter. So what are the traces that would be
That
left?
sounds like you're
behind?
trying to maneuver.
I
through
don't
the
understand,
goalposts.
No,
Bobby.
I'm just trying to find out what you consider evidence, because I watched
What's
21
important is what
hours
you
of
consider. What do
hearings
you?
in Arizona, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania. I have been covering this pretty much nonstop. I've looked through a lot of these affidavits. I've seen the forensic analysis. They've done an analysis of the web traffic, all of these different things. So I just need to know what you consider evidence.
Okay. Where are the
Then
emails?
tell us what it is, Bobby. Tell us what the evidence
Well,
is.
Tell us why.
What do you want to see? Do you want to see like
about this?
testimony from someone who says I was there
Bobby,
and I witnessed them changing
We
votes?
said
No.
We have
widespread.
that.
Widespread.
We have that.
What I want to know is
We have
this,
that.
Bobby.
We have that in
Bobby.
Detroit. We have
Bobby.
that in Milwaukee. We have that
Bobby.
in Atlanta. We have
Bobby.
that in Philadelphia. We have it in Phoenix.
Bobby.
Widespread. 5 states.
Bobby.
Mhm.
Then tell me why Trump's handpicked lackey came on TV or gave an interview and said there is no evidence of fraud that would have changed the outcome of this election.
And
Tell
Rudy
me why-
Giuliani said this isn't a fraud case.
Okay, but
He said it
none of this hinges upon the facts that people have collected in these different districts. Okay,
But Bobby,
there are
if there
citizen
was
journalists,
proof, if there
and
was
there are
proof and
citizens.
evidence,
No.
then why would Bill Barr say there is none?
First of all, he didn't say there was none. That was fake news. CBS just reported that was fake news. Catherine Herridge just reported that on CBS, that AP, that basically they posted a false report about what Barr's comments actually were. So anyway,
we'll have Mikey pull that up real quick.
okay, yeah, go look it up. It's on my
No.
web. It's on my Twitter feed. Okay, all right. So
I think we had some.
Okay.
I think Costa had some family things pop up there.
Okay, yeah, I think
The,
right. I
all right,
think
so
the situation.
I want to
here
just let you. I just want to let you do this. All right, just to curb this convo.
Okay.
So I didn't sit through 21 hours of Rudy Giuliani talking. I listened to about 2 hours of it.
It wasn't Rudy Giuliani talking. It
Rudy
was
Giuliani
hundreds
held
of
these
American citizens who were giving eyewitness accounts. They swore under testimony. They submitted supporting documents. They submitted affidavits.
Okay, hold
This
on.
is
Let me
how
pause
they
you.
were-
Let
yes.
me pause you there. They weren't in court. They were in a hotel lobby. So they're not sworn into anything that matters.
No. They submitted affidavits that were sworn under penalty of perjury.
But they were not presented as evidence in court.
They were.
This was a legislative hearing. It was the legislature. There's a judiciary, and then there's a legislature. These were legislators who brought this in as a hearing to present the evidence.
And
Are you talking about these last 2 days?
I'm talking about it was on last week and then 2 days this week.
Yeah,
So
he's been at hotel lobbies. Those
Okay,
were not at
but see,
legislators.
this is the thing, is that you guys aren't addressing the facts that people have brought. You're angry at Rudy Giuliani.
Nobody's angry at anybody. We're laughing.
I'm not angry.
We're laughing.
Then tell us what the evidence is that you have found that would change our minds.
You have found that all of the lawyers have not found.
Tell us.
The lawyers that are getting laughed out of court.
I'm asking you, when somebody steals an election, okay,
how many times does that happen? How many times has that happened since you're saying that like it's happened a bunch of times before?
Just point of order. Hold on.
There was a president named Maria Arroyo who was president from 2001 to 2010. She was endorsed by Bill Clinton. She went to jail for 9 years.
I'm talking about here. I'm talking about here.
It's the same software. It's the same people involved in the same thing. It's the same funding company.
Okay, hold on one second.
Lopez went to jail in California. Anyways, this is the thing is like you can't keep focused. Like I'm asking you.
I'm focused on why you know more than all of the lawyers, all of the judges.
Point of order. Guys, just point of order.
Right,
we're asking Bobby a lot of questions, which is perfectly fine. I think he's going to let us ask all of them, and he'll answer all of them. But let's give him a chance to give us the first answer before we hit him with questions 7, 8, and 9, just to be fair.
All right. Okay. So if somebody were to steal an election here are the things that you would look for as proof of the fact that it was stolen. You would look for whistleblowers who would come forward and say that they witnessed this and that they were party to some of the conspiracies. You would look for documentary evidence, as in voter rolls that don't match up, irregularities, or strange behavior where inspectors or observers were prevented from being present when large numbers of ballots were brought in. You would look at the timing of when ballots were reported. You would look at the chain of information of how tabulation was completed in certain districts and how that information got passed up to the top. And then you would also look for affidavits from people who witnessed things, like a delivery guy who is being asked to deliver ballots at a time when they weren't supposed to be there, people who witnessed that there were ballots that were open, that were non-secured, or things that were false. You would look for all of the records that the election officials are by law required to keep, such as, for instance, who was present when they checked all the signature matches, who was present when they opened the envelopes, okay? You would also look for digital traces of people who had possibly used computer tabulation algorithms to change the vote or the ratio of the vote, okay? Those are all things that would be evidence that something happened. We have all that evidence. So if you want, whichever of those things most interest you, quick, tell me, and then I can tell you where it is.
Let me walk through this. I don't know. Why do we have an echo?
I don't know.
Let me say, it might be because you don't have headphones on, Bobby, but that's okay.
I can turn off my.
No, that's fine. All right, so I was like, "What the hell is that echo?" All right, so what you let me just recap what you said. You said you would be looking for whistleblowers. We'd be looking for finding out who was present, digital traces, documented evidence of voter rolls. You'd look for strange behavior. You'd look for timing of reporting. You'd look for tabulation from the bottom to the top.
You'd want to also examine the provenance of ballots in terms of where ballots came from, when they were counted, who had the chain of custody. So who was in charge of the ballots at which time.
Okay. So let me systematically go through the majority of these. There's some of them that I may not have particular information on, but I would say 3/4 of them I do. As far as the people, let's talk first real quick about the people who were the observers, right? You had people who were turned away as observers in multiple cases. In a lot of those cases, however, in fact, you had people who were taking videos that Mikey will play, has one of them for this guy who they said went and grabbed a flash drive and put it into a computer and put it into a laptop. And then they make this whole conspiracy theory about how he changed voter rolls and everything like that. So those guys were observing from about 15 feet away through a window. Those were observers. If you have all these Trump fans who want to observe, you don't need 75 observers when 3 could do it, or let's say you need 12. You don't need 170. You have so many people that are trying to get into these places. They're going to turn some of them away because of A, you don't need that many, and B, you have a pandemic going on. You're still on mute if you're trying to talk.
Yeah, that's not factual. What you're
How
saying
is that not
right
factual?
Now is not factual. If you go and you listen to the testimony for 21 hours, there were over 100 people who were witnesses who gave the exact numbers of how many Republican observers and poll challengers were allowed. In some of these facilities, you had dozens of tables where they were counting because the number of absentee ballots and mail-in ballots that were being delivered late at night was so large. And the number was they can't come forward, for instance, and produce any names of Republican observers who were allowed close enough to the table to be able to watch. The election officials, the people who are on the board of elections.
Then why did
their job? They work for the Secretary of State of these states.
Then why, when the Trump legal team went into court and said that they wouldn't allow our observers in, did they then say, no, we did have observers there?
Okay, no, listen, this is the thing. You're having an argument with Trump's lawyers, with Republican officials. I don't give a crap about any of that. I care about American citizens who were treated in this way and who their franchise has been basically compromised. And this is sacred in American history. And then for people to say that affidavits don't count as evidence, that's going back to an earlier time in history when there were certain groups of people who were told that they could not testify in court and that their testimony did not carry the same weight as somebody else. That's an ugly history to go back to. That is an ugly history to go back to.
You mean like Christine Blasey Ford, where she said she signed an affidavit and the Republicans laughed her out?
I don't see you bringing up all this stuff. I'm not here to argue for Justice Kavanaugh. I'm talking about.
So you're saying
you asked me to give evidence for election fraud in 2020, and I'm trying to give you that evidence. That is okay.
I have a question. So the level of scrutiny that this election has taken,
right?
Is this different than the norm? Is it always this sloppy, or is it always this well scrutinized? You know what I'm saying? Do we know what happened in 2016? Do we have the same information to compare? And how far back do we have that information?
I think that they're especially in some of these districts, they have a long history of having poorly executed elections where there were not inspectors and observers. Okay, but this one, obviously, because of the mail ballot factor and because of the fact that a lot of these districts had just turned over to the new software, it became a lot more. It became escalated, and then obviously the aftermath of it escalated it.
So that would be my only pushback on it. Would be like, this could have been the case for the last 10 elections.
I think that it has been the case in a long time. I think Republicans steal elections. I think I have a pet theory that Kemp stole the election from Abrams, and that the governor of Georgia, and that may be why he's playing all these games, with this election. Because there's probably dirt on him. There's probably
his I think was probably more of voter suppression than outright cheating.
But it probably
answer me this.
Have also been cheating. I think that they've also been cheating, and I think one of the factors here is that all of these successes down ballot that you hear about with the Republicans having gotten all these swing victories, I think some of those they may have cheated. So that's why a lot of the GOP doesn't want this to go forward. At least the people in the upper echelons of the GOP.
Look, I am 100% on board and let me just say this. We said this from the beginning. If there is voter fraud, and I'm not talking about the late, the votes like in Pennsylvania where they're complaining that the votes were counted the next day because those were mail-in ballots. Those were legal. That I don't know why they're trying to get those thrown out, because regardless of whether or not you thought they should have been able to be counted the next day, that was the way that they passed the law. But
we don't know whether they were legal. We don't know whether they were legal.
But you don't know if they weren't.
Right, and that's because they broke the law by not having the observers there to basically attest, to vouch for that count. That's the problem with when you break the law by telling people that they can't observe the count. That's you get yourself into this mess.
So let me just say this for the record. I've said this before.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
If you have voter fraud, if you have any sort of voter suppression or fraud or anything of that nature, I am 100% for America. I'm completely on board for that. Let's root it out. Let's change our electoral process and make it fair and make it legal and make it so that we don't have to worry about all of this stuff again. But at the same time, if you're going to come to me and tell me that Smartmatic software is screwed up within Dominion voting systems, when we know that Smartmatic and Dominion aren't even the same company, and in 14 of the counties that they're contesting in Pennsylvania, they didn't even use Dominion software in those counties. So Dominion, then they go out and they say people are Dominion employees and alter their LinkedIn and take screenshots of their LinkedIn profile page, and do clear Photoshop alterations to them and then post them online, like the girl on your Twitter. I don't know if it's a girl or a guy, but the guy with the French thing, he's talking about this. And if you look at the video, can you play this video real quick for us? Let Mikey. This is the guy in Georgia. This is the guy in Georgia. They said took a USB drive and changed all the votes.
Okay, all right. We don't need to go down that road. I'm not going to jump on that. That's not evidence that I would cite. Okay. I'm talking about, for instance, what was presented in 21 hours of state legislative hearings in 3 different states. I think that is serious evidence.
Okay,
I think people who came forward and who went on national television at great risk to their families, they went and they testified. And I'm not going to brush aside their testimony and blow them off.
I'm not going to brush aside their testimony either. But if they're,
right.
but it's not stupid of me to make or naive of me to make an assumption that if you're told for weeks that there has been or is going to be voter fraud, because Trump has been setting the narrative for this for months, that Trump fans aren't going to, and I'm not saying the Democrats wouldn't do it either, because I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a fan of the DNC or the Democratic Party. But if you're going to say that you have 60 or 80 people across the country, which is about the right number, that are signing these affidavits, that all of them don't have an agenda, how am I supposed to look at that as unbiased? Because it's clear if you're in a truck and you're delivering, if you're delivering ballots after hours to a voting facility and you know that's wrong, and you're not going to take a video of it. Where of course everybody's got smartphones and everything these days. This guy didn't produce anything. He went back later and said, "Oh, you know what? This is what I saw." Do I care about what you said? Yes. But do you have to give some evidence for it? Of course you do. We don't convict murderers unless we have evidence of the murder. Now, yes, this is not a criminal case, but still.
The problem with what you just said was that in order to be admitted as an observer to all of these places, you could not take any photographs. If you pulled out a cell phone and started filming anything,
this guy was supposedly in a truck on his own with a back full of ballots, apparently. He's in the truck by himself.
Okay, so we have a large amount of stuff that has come in. Some of the claims are based on things that, are not even really necessarily part of the discussion, or at least I don't think should be part of the discussion. I'd like to restrict to the things that I've seen that I'm basing my opinion on. Okay, so the people's testimony that I take seriously are, for instance, Melissa Carone. She just gave her testimony today in Michigan. She was an employee for a tech temp company, and she was hired out to Dominion to work the election. So she gave very specific testimony. She has all of the paperwork to show that she was working for Dominion, that she was there at that time, that she was there for 27 hours, and she gave a witness testimony about what was happening with those tabulating machines. That's an example of strong evidence. I can't.
What was happening with the tabulating machines, according to Melissa?
What was wrong with the tabulating machines?
According to Melissa, what was the problem with the tabulating machines?
That they were taking stacks of 50 and they were feeding them in multiple times, 8 to 10 times. This was in Detroit.
Okay,
and there's no way to track that.
And that's substantiated by what?
That's her testimony. That's her testimony.
It's just her word.
I have a question.
What else are you
well, if she's right, then I would want that uncovered. But we need to. But
yeah,
look, they went through and they did
her word, though.
Well, okay, well, take a look at the numbers in those precincts of Detroit, and what you will find is that the numbers are actually off. This is why the Wayne County canvassers did not want to. There were more ballots that were processed than there were accountable in the voter rolls. So what she testified,
is Michigan a state where you can register and vote the same day?
What I know is that according to the records that she had, or that we had available to us, her testimony matches the fact that there was this large number of ballots that people consider suspicious that came late.
That she considers suspicious.
The testimony.
Can you register and vote the same day?
I think that's a fair question.
That's a fair question. But I think that by now it's December 1st. So I think when she was talking about it being actually, you know what? She was at the facility for I think it was the central facility where they sent the provisional ballots and the absentee ballots. But even if you could vote the same day, it's still, those districts they could not, 71% of the precincts in Detroit, they could not match the vote tabulation to the voter rolls.
There are more votes than voters registered at that time.
71% of Detroit.
So can you register and vote the same day?
Yes, but
that
it's
was
Okay,
Right.
so then
it's a
that's
month-
what could have happened, right?
No, but we don't have the records that back you up. We have the records that back.
No,
me
all
up.
you have
At
is
the
her
end of the
word.
day-
And
No, at the end of the day, if you're going
is
to
that not a reasonable explanation? That's not a
No,
reasonable
listen
explanation.
to me. Listen to me. If you're going to register and vote the same day, that means that you went in on November 3rd and you would be on the rolls at the end of business November 3rd.
Yeah, but where are they taking their numbers from? Are they taking their numbers? Because in other states, like in Wisconsin, when they tried to play this conspiracy theory, they were taking the registration from before
October
the 3rd.
19th. It was from October 19th was the
So
day.
that's
Now,
almost a whole month before
let me explain to you how, and you may
how
know
do you
this
know?
already.
You didn't.
But
That's
you
not
haven't
the
told
case
us
here
anything.
because I listen. Why don't you go listen to the hearings? Why don't you go listen to the hearings? No, I mean it's like you're rejecting everything that I'm giving you
Because you're not giving any concrete information. You're telling me what somebody said, and you're saying the numbers are off, but there's a perfectly rational explanation for why the numbers could be off.
Now, let me real quick just explain.
They were referring to the total number when they did the board of canvassing, and there were 4.
Do the canvassers canvass on election day?
There were 4 commissioners who were in charge of the election, certifying the election for Wayne County, which includes Detroit.
Right.
All the black folks.
And at that point, this is 2 weeks after the election, after they have taken an assessment of everyone who was on the rolls, including if you register the same day, you're still registered, so you're on the rolls. At the point where they did the canvass, 71% of the precincts in Detroit did not match. There were significant discrepancies.
So where is that information? Where are your links? Where's that information at saying that the people that were registered after this count 2 weeks later still didn't match the people who voted?
Why don't you?
Where's that besides somebody's word? Who said that?
The board of commissioners for Wayne County. Those are the people.
So
you
if
can
that's
go.
the case,
They issued a report, an official report. They are official of the state of Michigan. You can go look at that report.
Why are they not fighting then? Why did they not throw that out then? Why is not?
They refused to certify the results.
Well, they refused. Wayne County refused to certify the results for about 4 hours. Okay, and then they came back and they certified it, and then Trump called the 2 Republicans along with some other members of the Michigan.
They didn't want to certify it. They didn't want to certify it. They got death threats. They doxed their children's schools where their children.
4 hours.
Yes.
No, they gave these guys a hard. They gave these guys a hard time, but they gave them a hard time.
See, you know what? It's like if you are gonna get all aggressive about what you think happened,
black guy now,
then you can't. I mean, you have to go and actually look at the sources that I'm telling you about.
If this is all true, in all of these states, like you're saying, there's no way the judges would have thrown that shit out, man.
Sure, they will.
Why? If they're not
you run a system with corrupt judges and corrupt courts.
But these were Trump appointees.
All the African Americans who are in jail. Tell them how wonderful the court system is. And
nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. But that's
we're talking about Trump appointed judges saying no. This is not.
I don't.
And these are also not
about the AG saying that there was not evidence.
I'm not farming out my mental processes to a judge. I'm looking at what's in front of me and making an informed decision.
You're not a judge, and the judges looked at it and said, "No."
All right, let me ask you.
Why would Trump tweet out, "We had the most secure election in history"?
Going to why would Trump do this? Why would
he do that in the midst of fighting?
I don't care about Giuliani. I care about American voters. Okay. I care about American voters getting disenfranchised.
Well, one at a time.
To win this election, if the man who most wants to win this fucking election has evidence, why would he say that? If he has evidence of corruption, he has evidence of fraud.
Talking about
when he tweeted out,
he has a lawyer named Rudy Giuliani. He has another lawyer named Jenna Ellis.
And
they have made this statement. They have filed these briefs in court.
They're all getting laughed out of court, dude.
But Jenna Ellis is out of her fucking mind as far as I'm concerned. Look, I read her tweets every day. Okay, I unfortunately followed her.
Okay, so that's
however, but let me
your point that really doesn't speak to the evidence here.
It doesn't speak to the evidence, but she's obvious. I don't even care about Jenna Ellis at this point in time, because Jenna Ellis has just, all she does is contradict things, but she doesn't say anything in the courthouse because she doesn't want to get disbarred. Now, when it comes to the voter rolls, I'm gonna just I'm sure the three of you know this, but for the listeners out there, when Bobby, I'm gonna mute you for 1 sec just so I don't hear the echo. When they do the computerized voting with systems like Dominion or Smartmatic, and what they do, how this works, and then I'm gonna let Bobby respond to this. How this works is the voter fills out their ballot. They get a receipt that is a paper ballot that has all of their voting on there that person, the voter, gets to review. There's then a computer ballot, which is sort of similar to like what you would fill out in high school when you took a test, like a Scantron sort of thing. Not the same, but runs around the same track. That runs through the Dominion or Smartmatic system, depending on which of those two competitors that they went with. That gets tabulated by the voting machine. They then take over the paper ballot, which is the paper receipt that the voter themselves gets to review to make sure that it is accurate, and give that to the election official. When the original counts go out on election night, they're using the computer tabulated ballots, because those count ballots at about 150,000 votes per every 5 minutes. People say, well, why is the recount taking so long? They're still counting in California right now. They're going to be counting until December 4th or 5th, right? Because what they're counting is they're not counting the electrical ballots. They're counting the paper receipt ballots in the places that use the electronic stuff. Like Kern County doesn't use that, so it's moot here. But they're counting the paper receipt ballots and making sure that those numbers align with what went through the computers. So Bobby, when they say, okay, they ran these stacks of receipts of ballots through the system 50 times, then what you would see is an inconsistency in the amount of ballots that the computer said were tabulated compared to the amount of ballots that you have with paper receipts that were hand counted, which they just certified in Georgia, and where the official result was certified from. That is the source of it, not what went through Smartmatic or through Dominion. And those, in every case, have lined up within 20 votes total. So I've just unmuted you, my friend, and I'm sorry. We don't want to yell at each other here, but I mean.
Okay.
So your response to that.
Right. I think that what you just described, it does not match how this software works. Basically, these tabulation machines, there's different tabulation machines that are used in different circumstances. Sometimes there's central ballot tabulation centers where they're dealing with the provisional ballots or the absentee or the mail-in ballots, those things. And in those ones, they're feeding in many different ballots at a certain time. And there is in the Dominion voting systems manual, there are digital means for you to uncouple. I know this sounds scary, but it's in there. You can uncouple the data in the drive from the images of the actual papers that are going through. Okay. And so when they do that, and Glenn Chong is someone who I did a lot of research on recently. I did an interview with someone from the Philippines who knows him. He did the research on the software. And basically what he found in fraudulent elections all over Asia was they would take on the USB jump drive, they would download the spread of the ballots, and then you can just override whatever tabulation is in there and put in your own ballot thing there. The problem is then you're left with, if there is a big discrepancy and you don't want to get caught, you have to come up with some of the paper ballots. You have to print them up so that the paper count matches the digital count. And so what would we see if that was going on? We would see large numbers of suspiciously clean ballots that were all seemed like they were printed in a row and that didn't have any creases. And there were witnesses who did report seeing that in these precincts. So that is, in my mind, sufficient evidence for me to say, I don't think that these scores should be verified. I can't say that Trump won the election, but I do not think that those should be certified. I think that if you are a government official and you're in charge of elections, you have to do due diligence. And if you have run the election such that you can't prove to people that they can vouch for that electoral count, then it shouldn't be certified. If you can't show me, where these numbers came from beyond, reasonable questions about it. And also with the case of the people who were corralled and kept 20 feet away and who couldn't observe anything, they were never allowed to they were never allowed to match up the tabulation versus the paper ballots, not in Pennsylvania or Michigan or Arizona or those places. So
Mikey, you've been quiet. I'll let you reply.
I'm just here to moderate at this point. You guys are very fired up, which is excellent. Right. And everyone's being respectful, so I'm chilling. I still have that clip pulled up, Dutch, if you want it.
Okay. Well, I got to get going. I just want to say one thing, as I leave. I think that there are a lot of people who had very strong feelings about Trump, who opposed him vehemently. Okay. But with this election issue, in my mind, it's not about Trump. It's not about Trump. There are millions of Americans who feel profoundly uncomfortable with the information that is coming out about the election. And I don't think you can just brush that aside. And it's not something that you can treat it like a joke, because it's not a joke. Suffrage is really, really important. It's something that has a very tumultuous history in America. And I'm not going to sit there and listen to all of these people give these testimonies about how they were pushed out of, they weren't allowed to observe the election. They were kicked out. And then on top of it, you have the testimonies from all these people who they got there and the election workers told them that someone else had voted for them. And so they had to vote on a provisional ballot and they never knew what happened to the provisional ballot. So, I mean, those are serious things. You can't just laugh that off regardless of who wins the election. All right.
First of all, I appreciate your thoughts. I think that the main thing is you're saying things can happen. I think there's a difference between can and did.
I think things did happen, though. Things did happen.
And secondly, I think that the problem that we have is that no matter what even if we went through every single thing that you brought up and we went through and we spent a year on it and we quantified it and Trump stayed in office for a year and we went through and we double checked everything and we dotted every I and crossed every T to the satisfaction of people like yourself, you would still have an astonishing amount of people on the who are Trump supporters who still wouldn't accept the results regardless, because the result wasn't what they wanted. There's always, and you have to look at this as, to my eye, just the creation of doubt a lot of times is better than a fact. The creation of doubt is better than evidence, because the creation of doubt, it will not go, you can't make that go away when you say it could have happened or it could, or this may have happened. Now I'm with you. If you want to scrap the entire system that we have and find a more secure way that is uniform municipality by municipality and state by state, I'm totally down for that. But for us to go through after the fact and say that we don't trust it, so now we're going to try to install electors that will just put that, we think it was screwed up, we think there was fraud. So what did the court case say in Philadelphia? We think it was screwed up, so we're just going to declare Trump the winner, and we want to just have him be declared winner because of nothing. They're not even saying that there was enough votes to change it. They're saying, well, we think we're questioning 6,000 ballots, so let's declare Trump the winner, even though he lost by 130,000. That's what that is what the court papers that was filed by Ellis and Juliana and Powell specifically asked them to do in Michigan. They said overturn the whole election and give it to Trump.
They were talking about hundreds of thousands of ballots. If you look at the briefs that I saw, they were talking about hundreds of thousands of ballots. Now
that's because they were talking about every single mail-in ballot.
Right. Okay. So there are things.
100% of the mail-in ballots they wanted thrown out.
There have been contested elections in the past in America. There are some that are even happening this year. You could have a revote. You could do lots of other things. But right now, in terms of the ballot count that we have from these various states, as a fellow citizen, as a fellow human being, I'm looking at that. There is evidence enough for me to say I can't honor that vote count. There were too many irregularities. It was too wrong. I think that people who are in my camp, and there's a lot of us, it's about 47% of the country right now. Okay. We largely feel like it doesn't really matter. I don't need to convince you, because the courts are probably going to side with you. You're going to get Biden as a president. And the question is, at what point are you going to apply the same level of self-criticism to yourself and ask, how much evidence would you need to see to be able to reach the conclusion that something did happen?
So that's why I asked the question that I asked, which was how far back, because I don't want you to have the blinders on and say, well, it was just this election and they did it this election. That's what I'm saying. Is there a track record? Do we always keep this good of notes on things? Are we always this careful? Or just like every other U.S. Government constitution, it's sloppy as shit. It costs way too much. Corruption everywhere, cronyism everywhere. If it's any facet of the U.S. government, we already know it doesn't run very well, and it probably costs 10 times as much as it's supposed to. So I'm just saying, just like we don't want to focus in on one specific. I have no doubt in my mind that our election system is not 100% accurate.
Right.
No doubt in my mind. I know it's all messed up, but I don't want to now. Let's stop and do a recount. We don't do that now. Now that maybe the party that we were, you know what I'm saying? It looks away. And if this was the case during the midterms or something, I'd be 100% on your side.
Well, because we didn't do it in 2016 either, to be fair. I mean, there were people on the left crying after 2016.
There were recounts in 2016. Jill Stein asked for recounts.
Jill Stein, yeah. Oh my God. And she kept the money for it. What a piece of work she is.
No, but they did that. I mean, she was respected. In the case of Bush versus Gore, they followed the process through. I mean, so this isn't the first time this has happened. And I always try to call people's attention to the international context. Don't get it twisted and think that America is any better than all these other countries in the world that have messed up elections, and know that they have messed up elections. The United Nations has an entire unit of people who go to observe elections overseas. I mean, if you study what happened in the Philippines, it was fascinating.
Aren't we part of the UN though?
We are, and I think that what I understand is that somebody called for the UN observers to come to Philadelphia, and they were kicked out of Philadelphia.
The UN was?
That's I don't know.
The person.
That might be one of those urban legends.
They kicked Philadelphia
and be like,
out of the UN.
Yeah,
you're done, Philadelphia.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. Next time we talk, let's talk about other stuff. Now that you've gotten the election stuff out of the way, and
you and I will continue our conversations online. But we do appreciate you coming on. Any parting shot you want to give?
Chill.
I'd like to see you and Big Haas. You can see the steam coming off of Big Haas's head. Any closing comment you'd like to make, Bobby, and then we'll continue to talk about this afterwards.
I think I said everything. I feel very passionate about it.
You don't say.
I was passionate about it when it was Bush versus Gore, and I sided with Gore at that time. I was not happy about the way that turned out. I was a Democrat back then. I don't like when
both of them were being very selective. Gore only wanted a recount in Dade County, and the Bush wanted to have a recount in other places, other counties, because it was only off by 550 votes. So I mean, that was and both of those guys were trying to have selective recounts in only places they wanted recounts.
Yeah, so. I mean, in California, I remember in 2014, Julia Brownlee. She had a race in Ventura County, and this was because I've been talking about the messed up elections going back many years. As an answer to your question, Mikey, I've been talking about this for many years. In 2014, she was losing, and then they found 52,000 provisional and mail-in ballots in one district of California. I mean, I don't, there's always these things that are, I just don't buy it. I mean, I know you can come up with an excuse and say, well, there's probably a perfectly rational explanation. But I've personally,
would you have bought it if Trump had won?
If Trump had won? If Trump had won and there were accusations about cheating, I would have totally jumped on the accusations about cheating. Let me tell you about something that happened here 4 weeks ago. In my neighborhood here, I live in a heavily Trump neighborhood. I was taking my usual walk, and there was one family that had a bunch of Black Lives Matter signs in their yard, and somebody had smashed the signs and vandalized them. Okay. I went to their house, and I wrote a letter saying, I'm really sorry that this happened to you. And I ended up, communicating with them. I brought my daughter to their house to pray with them. And I delivered a speech in front of the whole church telling Trump supporters, we have to be aware of when things that he says upset people. You know what I mean? I do honestly try my hardest to always stand up when I see something wrong. So whether Trump had won or lost, I would have stood up for this. I do probably think that Kemp stole the election from Abrams. You know what I mean? That's just an example of the way I try to look at it. But we are at where we are now. Anyways, let me let you go. I'll see all you guys. God bless you all.
Peace.
We appreciate it, man. We'll talk again.
All right. Bye-bye.
See ya.
All right. So Big Haas. Speak freely.
This motherfucker. Come on. You know something? Apparently, Bobby knows more than all of the judges. He knows more than the lawyers. He knows more than the Trumps, the Trump-appointed Republicans in all of these state legislatures that are pushing to certify this election. They all double-crossed him. Once again, he was a bad judge of character, and it worked to his disadvantage this time because everybody from every side is once again against Trump. He's the only shining North Star in this. And everybody, even people that he supported and that have stumped for him, they all came out in the end and gave him the old fist up the ass because Trump is Jesus and everybody's against him if it doesn't go their way.
He threw Charlie Kirk, of all people. He threw Charlie Kirk under the bus and said,
everybody's against him. And he's the only virtuous person here who has a lifetime of history of non-virtue. But now people like Bobby, normally reasonably intelligent people, come out here and they're like Barry Sanders dancing around trying to fucking make this shit sound legitimate. It's bullshit. And I'm sorry. Today I have a fucking short fucking fuse for bullshit. It's bullshit. If there was actual evidence, fucking Trump would be on Mount Everest right now saying, this is wrong. Here's all the evidence. Look at it. I alone can save this country. Da 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 da. You see, they're all against me. That motherfucker is not doing that. And when they go into court, his own lawyers can't do it because they know they're perjuring themselves. So they don't want to get disbarred. So they try. It was a non-zero number of representatives there. Shit like that. And
right.
It just really pisses me off because, dude, answer the question. If there's really real evidence, do you really think the man who's trying so hard to keep his hands on power would not be fighting tooth and nail for that?
You know what? I'll tell you what it comes down to here with guys like Bobby. And like you said, when it comes to hardcore Trump supporters, I've talked to a bunch of these guys. He's probably the most open-minded of them, which is why he is here and not other people.
Well, he sounded like he was in a goddamn safe just now.
Well, in this particular issue, I think he's lost it. But that doesn't mean that I don't care about the fact that if there is election fraud or irregularities, etc., that I think those things are okay. Of course, I don't think.
No, we don't think they're
those things are
okay.
okay.
Come on,
we
now.
don't. But you have to. But like he started out with the question, well, what is evidence? That question should be at them. What is evidence? Bringing affidavits is fine. These affidavits have been looked at over and over and over again by multitudes of different people. And if Trump's legal team, there's only two possible answers here. If Trump's and Karshan is texting up a storm. We'll get to you in a second, brother. but there's only two possible answers here. One, Trump's legal team is not bringing this evidence, so-called evidence, into court because of one of two reasons. It's not going to stand up in court because it's hearsay or whatever other reason. Or two, they're so grossly incompetent that why the fuck would you want a guy in office who's hiring complete morons like Sidney Powell, who couldn't even give evidence to Tucker Carlson, who said he would have given her a whole week to present evidence, but she wouldn't bring one shred of evidence and present it to Fox so that they could substantiate having her on for a whole week to listen to her. She couldn't do it, and she said she wouldn't do it. And now Jenna Ellis is doing the same thing. Rudy Giuliani is doing the same thing. Yet they have these hearings, and I know where these hearings are at because I stay at Marriott's all the time. The carpeting is Marriott fucking carpeting, dude. These hearings are at a Marriott. Okay, so if you look at the videos, it's clearly a hotel lobby where you could go rent it out to get married. And then to say that these testimonies, and like if you look at the audience, it's all social distance older people with Trump shirts on. This is not a legislative hearing.
I just couldn't deal with it today.
And that's fine. But what I explained about the Dominion voting system is not only does it come from Dominion, it comes from Smartmatic, I believe is the name of the other company, who is their number one competitor. So either they're actually in bed together and working towards getting Democrats elected,
try to take over the world,
or
speaking of Giuliani,
or they're look,
it was a microphone.
What's that?
He had a microphone. That's why I was laying in bed trying to get that thing out.
Oh yeah, he was had a. So like, look, do you think that Smartmatic would not love to be able to throw their number one competitor Dominion under the bus and say, hey, look how fucking incompetent these people are. Our software is better. They'd be in every single state by 2022. But they're not doing that because what they've actually said is that Smartmatic is the software that goes inside the hardware that is Dominion. That is blatantly untrue.
Actually, it is true. And I have a video clip that proves it. I'm going to play this video clip. And you'll just have to describe it because I'm not going to play the sound this time and get the stream taken down.
Well, I was glad that came down anyway. I wasn't going to edit 4 hours.
All right. So if you look, it's Penelope and Jasper are doing a color commentary on this.
They call him Nerd Boy. This guy here. You can't see my mouse, but you could probably see. They're calling this guy Nerd Boy. So what they do here is he took
out his USB.
Yeah, which I don't know how the guy must have had a better angle than the camera.
It's whack without the sound, so I'll just have to describe it. So this guy is going from workstation to workstation, and he's bringing his thumb drive with him. Now, here's a question for the audience playing at home. If you've ever worked in the tech field, why do you carry a thumb drive with you at all times?
I've never worked in the tech field, so no.
Have you guys put in
because your laptop may fail, or it's easier to transfer information from one to another?
That is your administration passwords. That's how you're able to use the computer in the first place. You have to have a thumbstick.
You have to have your thumbstick.
Yeah. So like, he's switching information. It's like, no, he keeps plugging into every computer he touches because if he wants to access it, he has to have his thumb drive in there. But they knew that. They were well-learned people. I could tell by the gravy in their voices that they knew exactly why he kept switching his thumb drive from place to place. It's your login. That's how you log in. That's why he's doing that. It's if you knew, then you know. But if you don't know, you're those
right. And you're seeing this whole video now. What you play the rest of it, will you? There's about another 20 seconds. So now watch this. So now the guy takes the thumb drive out. He's done with what he's doing. And he either took it out already or he's about to take it out like any second now. And these people, by the way, who are taking the video are like wondering what he's doing, but they're also laughing and making fun of the guy. So he takes the thumb drive out. He has it in his hand. He's going to try to walk out the door. Then he'll walk right back in and say, wait a minute. Let me ask somebody this. This is an observer, the black dude right there. He's probably observing something. So, of course, he's probably a member of the deep state. So then he walks out. Now, first of all, we don't know what office this is. We don't know anything, right? All we know is that this is what specifically they're doing. So if you Google this, I thought I was sharing my screen, but I'm not here. Hold on. Let me share my screen.
What up, Big House? I like your shirt, homie.
All right. So here is Gateway Pundit. Look. Dominion employee identified, allegedly caught on video downloading data on USB, plugging into laptop. Okay. So this part is possible. We don't know if this is true or not, but okay, you can see that he had a USB. You saw that he plugged it into a laptop. This statement is true. Where does this come from? Where does the manipulating data come from? So they're going to assume that in the 45 seconds that he was in that other computer, that he manipulated and corrupted all of the election data on there, and then palming the USB. Okay, now go look at this right here, right? You can see this right here. This is the guy's badge. It's a blow up of his badge.
Deep State Johnson. Yeah, his name is Deep State Johnson.
Right. His name is Deep Johnson. You can't read his name, but it looks like it might start with a K. And then there's the last name. Can you show the just the title screen from the video? Is it possible that you can do that?
Yes, I have to rewind.
So it's just like the screen that would pop up on YouTube here. And I'm sorry for the people listening on audio. I know this is probably a little bit mundane, but
like the actual, like how it would show up on like the no.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
I could type it in and search it. Hold on.
So what we'll do here is we're going to pull this up, and then what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to put, if you're listening on audio, if you could, there we go. I'm going to put a link. So
I got it.
Okay. So all right, let's take a look at your screen here. All right. So if you see what they did right here, go back to the beginning. Well, it left off of the beginning. Did you see? All right. Look at how clear his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we just show you on my screen how you could barely read it? So what they did is they went in here and they added a full first name for him because we saw it was just the first initial. They decided they were going to pick out what the last name was. And if you see where the guy works here, it says GPS something. It's too small for me to read.
GPS Track It.
GPS Track It. GPS Track It has nothing to do with Dominion. So they went in and they said this guy's name is Georgia Kahori when we clearly saw it was a K. And then they show the LinkedIn profile of Xavier Kahori for GPS Track It. Now this guy Xavier Kahori, I looked at his profile on LinkedIn. Guess what? He has set his page to private. He had to take his picture down. They probably went after this guy, and he's talking about, oh, well, these people with the affidavits, they've had death threats. Do you think that this guy took down his LinkedIn profile for fun.
And what about the there's reports of
it's all fake, dude. Everything you just saw was photoshopped and fake and not even good.
And there are actual workers, poll workers, who are getting nooses outside their house. Their elderly parents are being sexually harassed through text and shit like that. But you know, all he sees is his side.
Right. So Jartan he stepped on his own dick there. Why would he call Trump voters about the BLM signs? Trump voters aren't racist. You know, I don't think that there's none of me that thinks that Bobby is bigoted guy, but I do think that he is trying to use that to get through to us because
give him some credibility.
Yeah, to say, oh well, don't we? I thought you guys supported equal rights, but we're not talking about equal rights here. We're talking about, look, if there's voter suppression, I'm all for getting rid of it. Let's get rid of it. I don't care who it fucking. I don't care if it benefits the fucking the fucking Libertarian Party, the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, the Green Party, or the American Socialist Party. I don't care what party it hurts or helps. I say we get rid of it, but you have to be honest in your argument and say, look, we have not actually brought up any evidence of this. You could bring me as many affidavits from MAGA wearing Trump fans as you want. It means nothing.
File false affidavits. Come on, man.
Man. That, and then they're saying, how come we don't investigate this? How come we're not investigating this? We've been investigating it for 3.5 weeks nonstop. They've been thrown out of court. They're 1 for 38. The Trump team has 1 win and 38 losses in court out of 39 court cases. 1 win and 38 losses in court. But if you have all of this evidence,
that's what I was
why
trying to say.
Why are you 1 in 38?
That's what I was trying to say, and he just refused to answer that question. I don't know why. Bobby, you can't know more than the fucking lawyers, dude. You can't know more than the judges. Judges that would, if given the opportunity, because Trump put them in that position, would probably side with him. If you gave them a hair's breadth of evidence, but you didn't, so they had to do their duty. I said duty. Pause.
Oh, you said Call of Duty Heroes duty.
Man, we're an hour in, and that's my first pause.
The and just for those who thought,
yes, Tim, you're right,
that my statement about Smartmatic and Dominion not being competitors and not being the same company, and Mikey said that's not true. If anyone didn't get that, he was being sarcastic about that comment because they are absolutely different. And what I said about the voting, look, take me to task on this, listener. I will give you a $50 gift card if you post evidence that shows that what I said about the voting system is wrong. I'll go in my own pocket and send a $50 gift card to you.
Cats that's expired.
Yes. I was about to say $50
to Taco Bell.
$50 gift certificate to the Nasty Kitty.
I'll just walk in.
Have chips strapped in their ass. All you gotta do is swipe that thing.
I'll give you a gift card to the drive-through strip club in Vegas.
Just tap. You can just tap the new cards, Haas. You ain't even got to swipe. You just hold it up to it.
It's like an Apple Pay. You just tap.
No, but show me
tap the left cheek for debit and the right cheek for credit.
Yeah, but show me that that what I said is wrong, because what they do is I go into the polling place, I fill out my ballot. It's an electronic ballot, right? They feed it into the machine. It prints it. Then there's a paper receipt. Now, in some systems will give you the paper receipt after it's fed in. Others give it to you immediately. The problem is we have so many different voting systems, but you get a paper receipt that is an exact copy of your ballot, what you voted for, and every single, not only president, but also all the down ballot stuff, all of the the proposals, all the propositions and everything, and how you voted on those things. You get to review that. And then that is given to the election official as the paper ballot. And that's the one that they actually count when they certify it. Your electronic ballot doesn't count for certification. It's the paper ballot. And because what they're trying to do, the way that I understand it, is they want the electronic voting systems to become the norm, but the people don't trust them. So what they're doing now is they're taking the electronic ballots and quantifying them against the paper ballots that are basically like a receipt or a carbon copy or whatever it is that they are. Different systems, different places. I did a provisional ballot. It was all paper. Like there was nothing electronic whatsoever with that. But they, and then they give you a receipt for where I went. They give you a receipt with a barcode on it where I can go on and use that barcode to reference my vote if I felt like it was changed. So you're going to tell me that every single Republican who thinks that this is fraudulent didn't go on and check their vote and use that receipt? Yet not one of them has come forward to say, yes, look, I voted for Trump, but here's my receipt that said, or take a picture of their receipt and said, look, it was changed. Not one. Not one.
I mean, you can keep trying to explain to people that the Earth's not flat, but you're just going to find yourself banging your head against a certain ice wall.
They don't care. They don't care about facts. Because what they want to do is they want to set up enough doubt.
That's all it's about.
That their constituent or their supporters will justify in their minds that when they try to install faithless electors on December 12th, I forget the date now, 16th, that when the electors actually elect the president and they defer from that, like 7 people did in 2016, who were supposed to vote for Hillary Clinton but didn't, voted for Bernie Sanders or Trump or Evan McMullen or whomever. They want them to say, okay, that's not stealing an election. That's patriotism because we're correcting a wrong. And that's dangerous because that is subversion of the democratic process.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me tell a little story.
Antifa's smelling a little bit better now, ain't it, people? Yeah. Think about it.
Let me tell you guys a little story. So yesterday I was driving with my son, who's 6.5 to be fair.
You let him drive at 6 and
yes, he was driving. And
was he drinking?
Oh, he was drunk on McDonald's Happy Meal.
Ooh, that's that good high.
It's enough law breaking that I let him drive. Now, so we're driving around and we were listening to a radio station. I was actually listening to the Rush Limbaugh show, and Rush is in his, because I love just hearing the craziness, right? So he's Rush Limbaugh is in for his therapy, and I feel bad because like I hate him so much, but yet obviously I don't want the guy to die, but whatever. So he's in for his therapy. He's got this other guy in for him, this British guy. And the British guy says something. He's like, what he said was, this won't be verbatim, but basically he said, just because Donald Trump is dead doesn't mean his platform is dead with the Republican Party or something of that nature.
Yeah.
And while still saying that the election is a fraud, of course. And then my 6-year-old in the back seat says, Donald Trump's not dead. Because of course, he only heard that one little bit, right? He didn't realize that it was it was an analogy. Yeah. So he was talking about Donald Trump's presidency being dead, but my son didn't get that. He's like, Donald Trump's not dead. And I'm like, yeah, no, he's not dead. And I said, do you know who he is? And my son said, yeah, he's a big guy and he has a blue suit and yellow hair. And then he said there's an Among Us character like him that they play on FGTV, right? So And I'm like, well, you realize that? I go, do you think that's the real Donald? And FGTV, by the way, is like a kid's like video gaming. I'm sure Mikey watches all their episodes. But
in between my bumps of cocaine, hell yeah,
got to do some rails.
So my kid goes to me, he goes, he's on FGTV. And I'm like, you know, do you think that's the real Donald Trump? My son said, no, it's just a cartoon. So it's not real. And then a few seconds goes by and he says to me, and I was bewildered yet proud at the same time. He goes, Dad, is the news real or fake? And I said, I turned around. We were in the McDonald's drive-thru. I turned around. I said,
he was on the highway going 95 miles an hour and he turned around.
Yeah, I turned around. I looked and I said, listen to me, son. I said, I'm very proud of you for asking that question because you didn't know something and you asked. And I didn't tell him the news was fake. I didn't tell him the news was real. I explained to him, I said, you have to get old and you have to start thinking for yourself. And then he said to me, he said, is Donald Trump evil? And I said,
yes.
I said, well,
here's $100.
Yes. I said, well, here's the thing. And I told him, I said, Donald Trump
get 2 Happy Meals.
Is a guy who says bad things.
Red slushy.
Yeah, get him a red slushy. I said, he's a bad. I said, this is a guy who says things that aren't true. He makes fun of people. And I told him a lot of true things about Trump that I said, so I don't think Donald Trump's a very good guy. And then he said, does mommy like him? And I said, I said, that's the question you probably got to ask mommy. So,
Jason live from the couch.
Yes, I absolutely. but she actually was, she was like, I think you answered it the right way because we want to answer his questions. But here's the point. Point is this. If a 6-year-old is asking you if the news is real or fake,
that's the problem.
It speaks to what we're talking about right now.
Are you a proud papa?
Oh, I think me and Big Hussein are both proud. I mean, I love my kid more because I'm white than he does. He's, you know, as a black guy, black guy, we know that it's impossible for him to be a good father.
I'm not involved in their lives at all.
No, I mean, you pretend to be, and like you try to get credit for it, but I mean,
we
all
I have
know.
them come downstairs. That those are prop kids actually.
Yeah, you give them $5 and then tell them leave me alone. I'm getting high.
Come downstairs and get on the computer with me.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
You know, then go upstairs and get my watermelon and hypodermic needles.
Yeah, and bring me some more fried chicken and sweet potato pie.
Fried chicken, and don't bring me any napkins because I want my lips to look real greasy.
That almost sounds like an Ashley Larry character. Is that a segue into the next topic? Oh my god!
Let's go.
I am not
prepared.
That
was real quick before he does this, listener, if you're listening to the audio version while he gets that rocking and rolling for the humidor here, please do subscribe to the show. Give us a review on iTunes. It helps us a lot. Give us a review on if some of the other platforms also do allow for reviews. But most importantly, if you're if you can really want to help the show out, you can do one of 3 things. You can follow us on YouTube, which would be youtube.com/voice from the underground podcast. I know that's long, but again, youtube.com/voice from the underground podcast, and follow us there. We're up to almost 150 subscribers now, so that's great. You can follow us on Twitch at, let me see if I get this right, twitch.tv/VFU podcast. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Okay, perfect. So again, twitch.tv/voice from the underground podcast. And thank you to our Twitch audience that is out there tonight and not engaging us. So
it's all good.
And you can also go to Patreon, which I just was silly enough to cover that up. So it is it's patreon.com/VFU podcast. You can donate to the show there.
Onlyfans.com/the VFU podcast.
Redtube.com/VFU podcast.
Pornhub.net. We couldn't get to the
Red Hamster.
Red Hamster Tube.
Right.
That's a Richard Gere joke. That's not funny.
What is chocolate?
Oh, it's chocolate, baby. Chocolate.
I know. Is that a play on words for something?
It's chocolate.
100% Oh, okay. 100% melatonin? No.
That's what the wifey says.
referencing
That's
Big
right, because I
Haz's
be putting her
t-shirt
ass
here.
to sleep.
Got to put them down sometimes. They get too mouthy. You got to put them down and put them to sleep.
Gotta
They
drill in the
talking.
bed.
Hey, by the way,
too much.
By the way, Mikey, did you get a PS5 yet?
No, I'm not getting that PS5.
Are you getting the new Xbox?
No, you gotta let the first wave of broken ones go out first. Didn't we learn nothing from Xbox?
Then they get all the bugs out, and then it's like a brand new car. You don't buy the first edition of the new car. You wait till the following year.
Because then they're gonna make all the necessary tweaks and they're gonna fix all the missteps they made by rushing the first one. Right. And then you get the better version, which is like Wave 2. I'm on that Wave 2 Corona tip. I'm on that Wave 2 Xbox tip. Because I know that with the Xbox, a little gamer nerdy shit here. For the Xbox 360, one of the parts that helped the fan stay on was made out of plastic. So if you played for too long, or not even that long, I mean, everybody got a new system and they played it once they got it home and out of the box. And then that little plastic piece melted, and then the fan stopped working, and then it melted your hard drive.
Okay.
So your motherboard.
That's actually good advice. We picked the right guy to take over for our gamer.
I did not take over. I did not.
Yeah, with not having TJ here, we
there
still
we
have
go.
you.
That's better.
Yeah. So it's always better to wait until the second wave of systems come out, because there may be that may happen. That Red Ring of Death was no joke, and that's probably why PlayStation is as popular as it is now, is because a lot of people got fucked over with their Xbox 360. Same thing. Something similar happened with the programming thing with PS3, and then you saw everybody switch over to PC or over to Xbox. So you always got to wait and see. Let the excitable children get their jollies first.
Those foolish early innovators.
Man, let the kids get it first for Christmas and early Thanksgiving, all the weird presents that motherfuckers get nowadays. Let them get the bad ones, and then you just hold on, stand fast, stand back, and stand by, and wait.
Stand back and stand by. Real quick, also, what did you guys think of Rosario Dawson's appearance on
you don't even
Mandalorian?
Say spoiler no more. Damn, bro. Oof.
Oh, everybody knew this.
I haven't seen it yet.
See,
that's not everybody knew Rosario Dawson was going to play.
I knew she was coming. Pause. On the show.
Well, from Cory Booker. Yeah, Cory Booker's helping her out with that, probably.
Yo, that makes me so mad. I'm so angry about that.
He ain't doing it right, you know.
I'm so mad about that. It's not fair.
She's
goddamn light-skinned men.
She did.
Us medium-skinned men are out here struggling. Everybody wants dark or light. No one wants a good medium.
Hey,
a schmedium.
I got that special dark chocolate going on right here. So,
hey, and by the way, Jartan, I always get it backwards. I wore this just for you, brother. So, just so you know,
a little bit of that international love,
little bit of that Harley Davidson gear there for you. But
that's just
all right. I guess it's that time, is it not?
No. Are we doing? I want to talk about my man Dave, and then the humidor.
Oh, okay.
That could go long though. Well,
you're right. You're right. That could go long. Let's get this sexy new installment of your favorite section of the show. How's the humidor, baby?
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to the Humidor with Big Haas. Find out what Haas is puffin' and drinkin' today. If you try his suggestion, and you die. That is natural selection, and the VFU podcast is not responsible for you being weak effing sauce. Now, the one, the only, Big Haas.
I'm not on drugs.
Big Hussein, what are you drinking? What are you smoking today in the humidor?
Oh, you rubbed your camera, bro. You got the little Vaseline joint going on the whole thing. Get that smudge off of there for me real quick. Why you crack it like? There it is. Get that.
Yeah, get that. It's like a Windex commercial we're looking at here.
Oh shit! HD and HD. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Well, at least 720p.
Can't afford it. I'm waiting on that stimulus check.
Pause. You know, it's cuffing season, so you know them Cougars is out.
Sponsored by RedTube.com.
You know, Ethel got a stimulus for you, brother.
No, you know, all the Ethels is the ones that bought up all them PS5 and
Right.
Xboxes. Like, I'm going to get me a young one. Look at this bait.
You say you want that PS5, baby?
Oh, God. God damn it. I really want to play Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Oh, that I'll tell you what, that game looks pretty fucking fantastic.
And
I
that's
love
why
the first one.
And that's why Ethel got that joint sitting right on the couch.
Better watch out for you. Better watch out for Lorraine.
Mabel don't play, baby.
Telling you, Eunice will get you. Anyway, so I'm smoking the Emperor's Cut Natural Pleasure.
Ooh.
Oh, is that a condom or a cigar?
Yes. Natural Pleasure is obviously no condom, by the way. But anyway, pause. One of the founders of this cigar company, Emperor's Cut, is one of my frat brothers.
Hey.
And I figured with
what's your frat?
Alpha Phi Alpha Incorporated 1906.
Yeah, definitely part of the Black Masons for sure.
Like letter organizations, not masonry, not masonry.
No. They're part of the deep state, along with
the Illuminati, the Blackanami,
the Black Illuminati, right?
Blackanati.
Yep.
But
my uncle's a Kappa, but not that Kappa.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
But brother Greg Willis is one of the founders of Emperor's Cut, and this is the Natural Pleasure Toro. So it's about 6.5 by about 50,
depending on the temperature.
52. That's right. If it's cold, you know it's shook a little bit.
Depending on the stimulus.
That stimulus package.
Now I'm only through. I've had this cigar before, but I've never reviewed it before, and I've never had it with this drink, so it's still kind of like a naked review. And also, this has been in my humidor for a long time, so it's different than the one I had before.
What do you? Excuse me, teacher. Question here.
Sure.
You said the word. I think you said. I have it written down here. Naked. You having the cigar naked. What does that? What exactly does naked mean?
That means it's a brand new experience for me.
Like a,
you know what I mean?
Like a naked young lady.
If I had never been with her before, brand new. Baby.
I can't even keep up the bit.
We're tearing the wrapper off of that. But I haven't had this cigar in a long time, so and my palate has changed a lot since then. I don't know if you guys have watched the humidor for a while, but my palate has changed a lot since 6-8 a year ago. So it's almost like a new cigar to me. And then also the drink I made to pair with it. And I'll give you guys the recipe for it as well. So you're getting a little bit of some bonus action as is my habit.
Bonus stimulus.
That's right. You're getting some bonus peen. But this cigar is a medium full. I would call it like a 75-25. About 75% medium and about maybe 25% full. And it's as you go. I'm actually getting to the fuller portion as we go. So I'm almost halfway through it, and I'm starting to make that transition. But this cigar is an African American owned line. Like I said, my frat brother Greg Willis is one of the 5 founders of the cigar line.
So it's chicken flavored.
See.
Calm yourself. Calm yourself.
Bobby Lowe just left.
You already snapped on Bobby. Don't do it for Dutch. You snapped on Dutch last week, so don't do it this week.
Who do you think you are, Mikey family? You can't just snap on everybody every time you show up on the show.
Yeah,
of course I snapped on Mike.
Fuck you think you is with your what do they call it? The caucasity of the Negro, isn't that what we call it?
Caucasity.
The caucasity of that Negro.
Right. So this is a puro, which means
I think, teacher, I think I remember.
you know the answer to this?
That means the filler,
Yes.
the wrapper, and the binder are all from the same country.
Well, the leaves are all from the same country.
God damn it!
They have the same
school and getting back on math.
Because the leaves may have the same country of origin, but they may have been grown somewhere else. But that's different. Okay.
So it's the leaves. All
but
the
you're
leaves.
you're very close. All of the wrapper leaf, the binder leaf, and the filler leaves all come from.
Hit it, Dutch. Hit it, Dutch.
Nicaragua.
He gave us the thespian pause on that.
I was doing something else. My bad.
Oh, you was Jeffrey Tubin making some beef stroganoff.
I was a red tubing. Yeah.
So this is a Nicaraguan puro.
Listen, don't worry about what white folks be doing.
He said that in a black voice. That's crazy.
Keep your nose to yourself.
You should have been like, "Don't you worry about what us Caucasian individuals are up to."
I'd really appreciate it if you
stop looking in this cart.
I really appreciate if you black people stop telling me. Stop telling me how to operate my life. I'm a Western chauvinist. So please kindly keep to your own yard. And by the way, mow it.
I have a very,
because you're bringing down the property values.
I got one guy I can get on here who is still to this day a Proud Boy, who y'all would have the biggest blast destroying.
Oh, that would be fun.
I want them all by myself.
Whoa, pause. But back to the cigar. So like I said, I'm approaching halfway. There's about 3 inches left. Pause.
Whoa, halfway there.
Yeah. Now, in the beginning here, in the first third, I've got a little bit of pepper, some cocoa. So like a little bit of a coffee and cocoa mix, like a little chocolatey, but coffee on it as well.
Espresso, maybe?
Little, maybe. A little bit of earth or soil, as they might call it.
That's that ground.
Yeah. The draw it's weird because it seems like as I feel the cigar, it feels like it would be a tight draw.
Feels good.
But it's not. It's a medium draw. So it's like you get a lot of taste. You get a lot of smoke, as you can see. Watch. See that? That's a nice little bouquet that you get there.
Bouquet.
But I got to be careful not to over puff, because then I'll superheat the tobacco and it'll taste bitter. I don't want that. But as I said, you get and there's actually, well, wait. I think I get it more when I do this.
He takes a sip of the mystery drink and then inhales.
And then yeah. There's a little bit of sugar that you get. Like it might be brown sugar or raw sugar or something like that. Really nice.
Is that sugar cane them?
Yeah. And a little bit of a maybe a cedar as well.
We gotta get feedback on the show. I just remembered all I heard.
There's a little bit of a leather as well. Just a tad to me. Like I said, now I haven't gotten to the final third, and as my palate has grown, and as I've grown in my cigar smoking experience, I'm starting to break the. I'm starting to notice the transitions better, so I'm seeing that better. So I haven't gotten to the final third here, which would be about there and down. So I can't really speak to that because I feel like there's going to be some more changes to it. Like I said, it started off really smooth, and there was that little bit of pepper, little bit of cocoa, little bit of earth. Now I'm getting a little bit more pepper and some leather. So I'm moving into that. I'm into that. I'm well into that second third, as you can see. The ash game is real good too. the pretty firm ash. Pause. And
shout out.
If you're not familiar with cigar culture, sometimes we play a game. We call it the ash game, and we try to see how long you can grow the ash. Now, I've ashed it a couple times, but you try to get the ash as long as you can. My cousin in Houston, LG, she can smoke a cigar, a Churchill, which is about 6.5 to 7 inches. She can smoke it all the way down to here and have the ash just sitting there.
She's deep throating it.
No, don't do that. That's my cousin.
That's family.
Don't do that. Anyway,
there's a line touch. You're a habitual line stepper. Where's your soundboard?
Right. Now, I have paired this with a true virgin drink that I have never had before. So I'm drinking like a virgin today. As y'all know, I have some Angel's Envy rye finished, which is a pretty, it costs a pretty penny, but it's well worth it. But I wanted to make, instead of drinking it straight tonight or on the rocks, I wanted to drink a cocktail that utilizes the Angel's Envy. So I got on the Googler, on the internet, on the World Wide Web.
The internet.
And this is what they call a Kentucky buck. Okay?
Oh.
So
you're trying to get buck in here.
Pause on that. But it is, I've got 2 strawberries, 4 shots of Angel's Envy.
Goddamn.
Double shot of simple syrup, a shot of lemon juice. What else is there here? Oh, some bitters. And you muddle the strawberry and put all the ingredients in, put some ice in the shaker, shake it up real good, and then strain it out over ice, okay, into a Tom Collins or highball glass. And Tom Collins glass, I think, is a little bit bigger or a little bit wider. I'm not sure. Pause. But this is either a Tom Collins glass or a highball glass.
Pause.
I am not versed enough in libation culture to be able by the eye to tell you which one it is. So if anybody knows this glass, what is it called? My boy Montez would know. Please let me know. Okay. Now, it is sweet, it is tart, it is fruity, but it also has a little something on it that my lips are a little numb.
Oh, got them a little chilly.
My lips are a little numb, and if I finish this, I might have to wake my wife up when we're done.
Oh, see?
Pause.
It's that Angel's Envy.
But it has the sweetness in it, but it has some tart, and it has the bitters, give it a little bit of spice note as well. So when I take a puff after I take a sip, it's an explosion of flavor in my mouth. Pause. Pause. Because the sweetness of the sugar comes out. There's more spice that comes out, right? But then I get a little earth as well. So this might get in the rotation because it's the alcoholic version of a Dr. Pepper, because it brings out so much because of all of the flavors that are at play within the drink. All right. And if you're on that Angel's Envy, get yourself about $95, or you can find yourself a nice bottle. But on the lethal meter,
where we at?
About a 4.4. I would like it to be a little bit more pre-pause in your face, a little bit toothier, you know what I mean, as far as the flavor. But I think I like these cigars. I like these mediums because they force me to really, really, it's like a girl that's flirting with you subtly. You have to really be paying attention to see the signs. And with these medium cigars, you have to make sure you close your eyes. You do your retrohale if you want to. You do the inhale after the smoke has left your mouth. Pause. And you really have to focus on.
You see this comment?
The the nuances that you're getting.
While Haas is talking about cigar, Balatios 2241 is trying to spam us on Twitch. So
Balatios, we talking cigars, man.
And he wants us to click on his link so that he can corrupt our computers. Thank you for trying to
would y'all put
malware us.
Put Eseems. I know I said his name. I butchered his name. Put his comment up.
Easium.
Yes. Easium.
Easism, actually.
Easism.
It's easy.
Easism works. Okay.
Yes.
He says this is a highball glass. So that's what this is. Pause.
I have one myself.
I'm just going to believe you on that, okay? But this is a 4.4. I highly recommend this drink. It's called a Kentucky Buck, made with Angel's Envy.
Awesome.
It's a great cocktail to have. Now, what I did, I will be honest. What I did is...
What you did?
Oh, shit. I forgot. I said strawberries, muddled strawberry, lemon juice, Angel's Envy, lemon, what else did I put in? Bitters and simple syrup. You strain it over the ice in the highball glass, and then you top it off with ginger beer.
Ooh. Oh, you're going with the Spreca.
I almost forgot to tell you that you top it off. So it might, like I poured it in and I got up to here and then I just topped it off with ginger beer. It gives it just enough carbonation. And then you get the spice from the ginger as well. And that might be why I got the spice action going.
Spice Adams.
But this is a great drink. It's like an all-weather. You could drink this in the wintertime. You could drink this in the fall, spring, summer. This is a great, like, I can see myself having my cigar, sitting by the pool, kicking back, watching the kids swim, looking at my wife sunbathe, and sipping on this baby right here.
Are you listening to Will Smith's Summertime during that?
No, I'm probably listening to So Fresh and So Clean by
Outcast. That's one of the dopest beats.
That's when you put on the slow rap that bangs. You put on Diggable Planets. You put on some Outcast, like Hootie Hoo or Get Up, Get Out and Get Something.
What's your favorite Outcast album? The first one or the fourth one? The one that has I Like the Way You Move and and the one you just mentioned.
Not the first one.
The
second one.
The first one was my favorite with Cadillac.
Cadillac
doors.
Aliens. The first one had they had Jazzy Bell on it. It had Jazzy Bell. It had Elevators. It has so many cuts on AT Aliens. So many cuts. Decatur Psalm. Decatur Psalm. It's a 12-minute song. I listen to every note every time. Woo! Outcast. Shouts out to Outcast.
I'm still biased to their first
Big
one.
Boy. Their first album was crazy.
Yeah,
their first album was crazy.
Him and I, Aquemini.
No, Aquemini is on their third album.
Oh, that's third?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go digging up the crates. I'm gonna go digging up the crate. Dutch, I'm half your age. I'm sorry I missed one Outcast.
You gotta remember, it's Southern Playalistic Music. It's AT Aliens. It's Aquemini. And then it's the fourth one it was a double album. I liked it, but I didn't like it.
Speaker Box and Love Below.
And the Love Below. And then they went solo on each other. And Big Boy, if you haven't, that's a big pause
there.
Yeah, that was a pause.
You're gonna love my nuts.
There it is.
If you haven't, you have to check out Big Boy solo albums. They are underrated. They are underrated. That boy got some. He got a song on one album called Kill Jill. Crazy.
I'm so happy that him and Killer Mike squashed their shit.
Oh yeah, they were all Kill Jill together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because they was beefing, and then now they not beefing. So now I can listen to Kryptonite again because the homie's not fighting.
Jartan, you got to add 12 years to that, Jartan. He put a comment up asking how old I was.
He thought you were very. You must be. Look, you got that black don't crack, huh?
That's that shea butter.
That melanin will do it for you every time.
That shea butter.
100% melanin, baby.
Melanin.
You are fake news.
Here we go.
Oh, Dutch, come on now, baby.
That sword cuts both ways. I was like, oh, he's got his board back, and I'm like, oh shit, he's got his board back.
He's got his board back, but the pictures don't lie. I might be ugly, but my skin is nice.
We're gonna go over the soundboard in just a sec. So, what's your rating on this pairing?
4.4 for the cigar. I'm gonna give the drink a 4.75 because it's damn near perfect, and it might not. The only reason it might be short of a 5 is because I might have made it. It's my first time making it 5 minutes before the show started, so I might have made it wrong. I got to tweak with it. I got to mess with it a little bit.
My wife got me turned on to the simplest drink. Well, she does that too, but she got me turned on the simplest drink lately. Hot chocolate with Maker's Mark. It's just
I can't
dribble down a crack of her butt. No, I'm just playing.
Yes, sir. No, but it's
he had a cup like this. Hey, I would do it.
I have it on the exit out. I have it on the exit way out. So it's actually a pretty fucking phenomenal drink.
What's it called again? What is it?
Just regular hot chocolate. It's like regular old Swiss Miss packet hot chocolate. I put a little bit of half and half in it because I like it to be creamier.
Not white enough.
Right. I want to inject a little bit of whiteness into it.
Man, I love white people.
And then a Maker's Mark.
Holy loud.
Much too ethnic.
Straight up Maker's Mark. How is that way too loud? It's at halfway.
It's really loud, Dutch. I would never steer you wrong.
Well, I don't know about that. All right, so let's actually I want to go over. I have some new clips for the soundboard, but I have not put them on the soundboard yet because what I need to do. One of them, by the way, is Trump talking to Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, where they do the Oreo commercial. He's like, "We're gonna have a lick off."
Whoa, Paul!
I have to do something with that one, but I have like 4 or 5 new clips I want to put on, but I don't know what to take off. So some of this stuff has been with us since the beginning.
We should put them on the Instagram.
I want you guys to cut.
Why can't we just get a bigger one? Why can't we just get a bigger one?
I can't find a bigger one.
Do a poll. You should do a poll on Instagram.
The biggest one that I can find. The biggest one that I can find on iTunes is Boss Jock. And Boss Jock allows me to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12,
we'll talk
20, 24. So if you guys got to nominate any to go, so I'm just going to play through them. Let me know which ones you guys would like to go.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Inconceivable. Real man of genius.
Actually, let's do it this way. I'm going to play one and then say definite keep. Or
just doing
not.
That.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, he wants the audio.
I just want definite keeps. Okay. So
inconceivable.
Yes.
Definite keep. Okay.
Real man of
definite.
Yeah.
You gotta keep that one.
Ay, caramba.
Okay. So don't mix it. It's on the list of possible to go. All right.
Yeah.
You ever been mind fucked before?
Keep.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Keep.
Nah, I'm voting no.
Okay, so that's in the middle. All right.
That's in the middle. That's fine.
Look at my African American over here.
Look, they're torn. Look how torn
he out of here. No, he out of here, bro.
I'm out of there.
I might oversee it.
You
gonna run the belt through 50 times?
Dutch, you gotta replace that with, if you're undecided about voting for me, then you ain't black.
Yes, I like that better.
Oh, I want to put Corn Pop was a bad dude on here too.
Yeah, I'll take that one too.
All right, I have a feeling these next couple are going to be keeps, but here we go.
You are fake news.
No, not in love with it.
You don't like? Oh, really? Okay.
Habitually, he's a habitual line stepper.
You better not never touch that one.
That was got to stay forever.
Never
touch Charlie Murphy. Bet that never talk about ejecting that one.
All right.
You know I'm totally off script right now.
Bye.
No, well, we keep that because we're so tangently.
We can find a new. We can find a new one.
Okay.
You're gonna love my nuts. You're gonna love my nuts.
Bye. Sorry.
We can find another. We can find another inappropriate one.
All right.
The price is wrong, bitch.
Keep.
That's gotta stay.
That's gotta stay.
Nah,
out of there. That's a definite.
Now hold on.
Definite go.
As
That's a Mortal Kombat.
Can we get fatality or finish her?
Babality.
Finish him. Like,
Yeah,
can we get
the finish her. All right.
Finish her, finish him. Can we get that in place?
All right. Well, we'll definitely look at it.
Have you lost your damn mind?
Who was that?
Keep.
Who was
Martin.
that?
Martin Lawrence.
That's Martin from the
Oh no! Can we swap that for get to stepping?
Get to stepping or sit your dumb ass down.
You ain't got no damn job, Tommy.
Sit your dumb ass down. That's one of my favorite clips from the Martin show, man.
Oh, right, that ain't no damn puppy.
It's bro man from the fifth floor. Came down here to make me some sandwiches.
Yeah, I'm making
here.
I'm making notes.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
You better not.
Got to keep it.
Crack-a-lackin'.
I thought we did that one already.
No,
that's out of there. That was Icaramba. Icaramba was out, and this is out.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that just tickles my balls.
I like it.
I'm not in love with it, but if y'all like it, that's cool.
Right. I like it. I like that.
I would
and I know things.
You better not touch Tyrion Lannister.
You got to keep Tyrion on there.
Tyrion is a mainstay.
Of course.
Yeah, I like Jank. He's an asshole, but I still like him.
All right.
Man, I love white people.
We need a better clip because that one's just so fuzzy. You can't even tell.
It is, but I was searching for days till I found that one. But anyway,
I believe you met my fitness consigliere.
Yeah, that's got to stay.
That's got to stay.
I want to throw this out to the people watching. I know the people that are watching right now in the chat will have some very good ideas. Please, by all means, find some funny clips, clip them up like less than what do you think?
3 seconds tops.
3 seconds tops. So there's got to be quick ones, y'all.
Yeah.
And then VFU podcast at gmail.com. Send them over, and then we can have like another.
Yeah, it's got to be something quick enough where I could. The longest one we have is this one.
Real man of genius.
And it's only 4 words, but it's 4 seconds. That's the longest one that we. I think this one.
This is
that
the
one's
kind
4
of thing
seconds
that just
too.
Tickles my balls.
The rest of them are all just quick, like 4 to 5 words.
We need some Monty Python in there.
I would love to get some more Simpsons, some Monty Python, some
we got to get some Family Guy.
Yeah,
I don't watch
that closet.
I don't watch that show. But
that's what I would have had for Bobby. I'd have been like,
you know what the shitty part is? The shitty part about this is I'm always like just watching TV or writing it in the radio or whatever. I'll hear so many that I'm like, oh, that'd be a perfect sound clip. But then by the time I get home, I have no fucking idea of what the fuck it was that I heard again. So it's all right. So those are we're gonna work on that, listeners. If you have any 3 to 4 word clips,
yes.
I would say five words max.
Soundboard clip submissions.
Yeah, they got to be able to be.
And if we accept one of their submissions, they get some swag or something. They get a mask or something.
Yeah, we might send you a mask. So, all right. Just other piece of real quick news. 2 things. I have fucking sciatica.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, like I woke up about a week ago, and I had a pain in my side, and I was like, I don't know what this pain is. My wife's like, it's sciatica because I had it when I was pregnant, and I'm like, fuck, dude. You might see me squirming around in my chair. It's every time I move my left leg, like the side, not really my butt, but like the side of
just up,
my
it's
butt.
Just above. One of my clients had this, and I got a bunch of stretches you can do.
I've been trying to figure out some stretches. I've invented a couple that give me a few seconds of relief, but obviously, like if I go to work, because I'm working at Amazon, just like as seasonal, and if I'm walking around, it's fine for a while. But then if I sit down for 5 minutes, and then it shoots down to like the back of my leg, but I'm telling you, this is a fucking pain in the ass.
I've had a chiropractor for the last 6 years. I know.
I used to have one. I need to go back and get another one, but it's
so. Here's some knowledge. Here's some knowledge I'm gonna drop on you, JD. I got you, dog. What you're gonna do is there's this thing called the chirp wheel. It's like $90. Fuck that shit. Way too expensive. there's a bunch of knockoff chirp wheels where it's essentially just a plastic wheel with a little bit of gripage on it. You can get on the carpet and you can kind of get some of that movement and get some of that, restore some of that.
Well, it's a roller.
Yeah, it's a roll. It's essentially a roller, and mine came with
trigger point roller,
and it'll help you to
unpinch the nerve,
to help you get circulation back to those areas, because your body will fix a lot of your shit, but it's posture, it's diet, it's stress, it's all these things combined to go into all that spine health.
Now, my client, she actually there's a bone that sometimes gets partially dislocated that hits that nerve.
Oh, she's fucked.
So she went to the chiropractor for a long time, and we stretched and we did some strengthening exercises so that the muscles in her lower back and hips would stabilize that area as well, to keep that bone from kind of slipping in and out, because that's when she would be exercising and she'd go to do a movement and it would just pop out just a little bit and she'd be like,
that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Like this is weird. Like it started like, I'm trying to describe it was right about where my kidney would be at on my back.
Yep.
And then like right now it's hurting like on my very, very high upper thigh, but on the left side, like underneath my leg.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it shoots down to the middle of the knee. And the problem is like I'm working and like it once I get warmed up, I guess is the right way to say it. It starts to feel fine after a while, but then if I sit down for 5 minutes, it comes back. But then I get upper back pain. I've never had lower back pain. I only get upper back pain. And it sort of goes across my back. Like in this, obviously this is my front, but across the back, the top part of my back. And, so because of the sciatica, I'm nursing my body in such a way that it's making my upper back hurt. So I'm just like, oh fuck, this is shitty. So definitely interested in trying to cure that. Also piece of good news. I got a ticket going 99 miles an hour driving to Chicago in July. Went to trial today. Fucking cop didn't show up. So booyah. This black dude sitting behind me. I went back to my seat and it was crazy. So I get there and like I was a dick to this cop too. So I was like, there's no way this guy's going to reduce the time.
Privilege.
No. Yeah. Well,
privilege.
Absolutely. Without question. But I told the guy to go fuck himself as I drove away. But I'm a white guy. I can do that shit.
You
so
trying
anyway,
to get a tank chasing you? What the fuck? This ain't GTA.
It was a kind of a shitty ticket to begin with, because like I was driving a minivan and I was going uphill and I was in the mountains in Needles, California. So it's like right at the border before you get into Arizona, maybe 30 minutes from Arizona. And I'm in this minivan and I'm driving uphill and I am struggling, and I do mean struggling, to keep the car at 65 miles an hour because it's so steep of an upcline. Mm-hmm. And then there was this truck up there and it was kind of like driving erratically, and it's like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. So my wife's like, go around that fucking truck. I don't trust them. So I'm like, fine. So I speed up and I go around the truck to get to the top of the grade. So then after I pass the truck, then the downgrade starts. I had no fucking clue that I was going 99 miles an hour. Like I looked at, and the cop said I was going 99. I looked at my speedometer. When I saw the cop, I looked at my speedometer and it said I was going 92. Now it's still the same ticket, 92 to 99, but I don't know where that 7 miles an hour came from. But so then the cop pulls me over. He gives me a ticket for 99. I'm like, you could have wrote that shit for 89. You're a fucking asshole. I told the guy.
You said that?
Oh yeah. I'm like, you could have wrote that shit for
fucker.
They do that. They do it all. In fact, let me tell you, the judge.
I know the cops do it. I had a cop do that when I was on my bike going 150. He wrote it for 87.
Right, and so I didn't tell him to go and change it, but I called him an asshole because I'm like, I told the guy that I was like, I told him I was past something. I was also like, officer, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to speed. I would never try to speed right now. I'm interviewing for jobs and I drive for work. So, I was on the downgrade and you're at the bottom of the hill on purpose. That, right? Like he's
right.
That's why he's there.
It's a trap.
So, but when he brought it back to me and he gave me the 99, I was pissed. I was like, you're a real fucking benefit to society. Go fuck yourself. You could have wrote this for $89. And my wife's like, calm down. And then I was like, whatever, fuck this guy. And I drove away.
Yo,
the fucker didn't show up. I was going to actually apologize to the guy in court today. Maybe not genuinely, but at least to try to get him to drop the ticket. But the judge said at the beginning, he's like, you can ask the police officer, based on the conditions. Like I saw it happen. A guy actually asked the police officer, he's like, well, it was a downgrade. So can I get a ticket for coasting instead? And they changed it to coasting. But the ticket, like these tickets in California, let me tell you, coming from Illinois, you get a speeding ticket in Illinois, you pay $1, it used to be $75 when we were kids, right, Haas?
Right.
And now it's like what, 160 or
175.
And then you got to go to court.
And then you got to go to court. But if you go to court, but if you don't go to court and you pay it, you pay way less in Illinois. If you decide to go to court, you pay court costs, which I think are $149. And keep in mind, Illinois is a somewhat liberal state, so it's these prices are somewhat high. But in California, this ticket was $587.
God dang!
Right, and this would have been the second ticket that I got in a year because I got a ticket from a red light camera making a right-hand turn. They said I didn't stop for 2 seconds or 3. I only stopped for 2 seconds. I was supposed to stop for 3.
Oh God!
That ticket was $500 and something, right? And like again in Illinois, if you get a red light ticket,
throw that bitch away.
It's $75 and it don't go on your driving record.
No, you just throw that away because that's not a fucking real ticket.
Well, not here it is. I had to ask for court supervision and everything.
Y'all need a couple of sovereign citizens out there to let y'all know that it's like, okay, bring my accuser into court. Bring the camera in, and them sovereign citizens got that shit right the fuck up out of here in Illinois. And so if you don't get out of here with that
really.
Shit, you don't have to. You have to go to court and you have to fight them and you have to challenge their jurisdiction. You have to challenge the legitimacy of the ticket. So it's like, oh, well, I have a camera of you doing this. So bring the camera in here and let the camera say that I did it. Oh, the camera can't talk? Well, then we out of here. Peace. Have a good day.
I wonder if that would actually work.
It does.
I'm skeptical.
Go on the internet, do a little bit of research, and you'll see that motherfuckers get out of them motherfuckers all the time.
The point is though, in Illinois, they're only $75. They don't go on your driving record, so they're also not a huge deal.
They're not 75 no more.
They're $100.
Well, yeah, but ours are $575, and they count as a point on your record, and you only get 5 points, and then you get suspended.
If you don't call Steve Cox right now and get him on the call and tell him,
I should have told him. That was my backup plan to go in there and say, I know Steve Cox, motherfucker.
You better calm down. I'm a Steve Cox fan.
No, but dude, so I go and I go up to the thing and like my heart, like I don't remember what my officer's name was, but like the first 5 or 6 people that went up, they were all for this officer Alvarez, and they were like, okay, he's not here, so they dismissed all these cases in a row. And like I'm looking around, I kind of know what the guy looked like. He kind of looked like Andrew Cunanan, the serial killer, a little bit.
Shit!
And I'm not saying the guy's a serial killer. I'm just saying that's who he struck me as looking like. So
what an interesting coincidence.
Yeah. hello, Clarice.
He was out there killing people. That's why he won that court.
So they get through like the first 8 of this guy's people, and he's not there, and the judge's like, he's not here, so the ticket's thrown out. Now I know that they're going to call me next because they're on this guy named Martinez, and Martinez was there, or his lawyer was there, and I know alphabetically. I know when they called us for roll call, so I know I'm next, right? So while they're talking to this Martinez guy, or his attorney at least, I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't see anyone who even slightly resembles this cop, because there was like 4 cops in there, but it was clear that it wasn't this guy, right? One guy was huge, another guy's like super bald, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm okay, but in my heart of hearts, I know I'm fucked still, right? Like,
homeboy about to walk through the door, right? As soon as you,
dude, 3/4 of the way through where they were getting done with the guy behind in front of me, this Martinez guy, and keep in mind, they're only up there for like 4 minutes. The door opens behind me.
Oh,
and
shit.
a parade of motherfucking CHP walk in. Like 8 of these motherfuckers walk in.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, I know I'm last one. I'm thinking to myself, Are you fucking kidding me? Every other person this guy pulled over got away with it. He's going to be here for my fucking ticket. You got to be fucking joking, right? This right after I lost my fantasy football game last night on that Hail Mary.
Oh, really?
That meaningless Hail Mary from the Eagles. I lost my fantasy game because of that meaningless Hail Mary. So I'm already pissed about that. And then and I'm like, motherfucker, so I go up there and then I guess he wasn't there. They called him. It wasn't him. And my heart is beating in my chest. And I get out of there and I'm like, fuck yeah. So I go back to my seat and this black dude sitting right behind me because everything's like social distance. He goes, "You one lucky son of a bitch." And I was like, I was like, dude, if you only knew. And I'm like, good luck to you. He's like, my officer's sitting right there. I was like, and I looked at the guy, I looked back at the officer. I go, of course he is. And he was like, you know. I'm like, black man go to court, boy. Oh boy was on vacation, flew home from Hawaii,
right,
to make sure he was at your court.
That seatbelt ticket ain't going nowhere, big boy.
Yeah, but I was like,
what you say?
I've gotten like this total bad luck. Like, you know, I try so hard to like use my white privilege when it comes to cops at speeding tickets. I have let me tell you, I have the worst luck with speeding tickets. I've gotten tickets for I literally got a ticket for going 44 and a 40. Literally 44 and a 40 around the outskirts.
55 and a 54?
Yeah, around the outskirts of Stratford Square Mall.
Oh, yo, that's
Stratford Square Mall.
That's Carol Stream.
Damn.
Carol Stream. That's
Carol Stream don't play.
That's my old stomping grounds, baby.
Oh, you know where they were the worst was, remember, I don't, and for people not from Chicago, I'm sorry,
Stone
but like
Park.
coming, I don't know about that, but coming home from like Galloway's on Route 38.
Oh yeah, on Roosevelt, they're gonna get you on Roosevelt. That's
you don't
over in that Butterfield.
That's
Roosevelt
that hillside area, dude. They don't.
No, you do not drive in Glendale, Glen Ellen, Wheaton, that area at 2:30 o'clock in the morning. Especially you got a black dude in the car next to you.
Hinsdale.
I was in the back seat way low because I wasn't trying to. Like, yo, we all can't be in the drunk tank tonight.
I've been pulled over so many times on Roosevelt. It's ridiculous. And but anyway, so I got away with the ticket today. They threw it right out. And I'm like so happy because like I've got all these interviews that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And I was super afraid that I was going to get a job offer and then have them retract it because I wouldn't be able to qualify for the insurance with a 99 mile an hour ticket. But anyway, yeah. So there's my good news for the day. I don't have to worry about it because Alvarez, you know, I don't know. Maybe he got deported.
Can I?
Trump threw him out.
That's right.
Trump threw him out.
Can I share a love story with y'all before I get on Dave Chappelle? This is a little teaser, so y'all keep on listening and watching.
Yeah, I'll talk about.
I can't wait to hear the book.
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
All right, so me and my lady, we have this new thing going on where let me get him up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Let me talk to you, Haas. So we got this thing we started. And it's like Pixar dates because we're not young anymore. We don't really even know when we don't have kids. So we don't know when the new Pixar movie drops. So we're going through and we're watching all these great Pixar movies, right?
Right.
We got a couple left on the list. Like we still need to see Big Hero 6. Well, I've seen it. She hasn't seen it.
I still haven't seen that.
Big Hero 6 is the shit. It is the shit. For like the nerdy kid out there, like Big Hero 6 is that jam.
Okay.
Onward. Did you see Onward?
No.
Oh, see, he's still screaming down there. Let me get him off screen while he ululating down there in the bottom. So Onward is the one. It's kind of D&D centric. There's like elves and dwarves and centaurs and all this cool.
Yeah, I saw Onward. It was, oh my god, that sciatica. It is not no joke, dude.
Ain't
that
no
shit
bitch.
fucking hurts.
Ain't no bitch. Your spine is for real.
Onward was pretty good.
I loved Onward. So
it was two people from the MCU. It was is it Pratt and Spider-Man?
Oh, the voice actors? I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Holland was like
Tom. I was thinking Tobey Maguire, but I knew it wasn't him.
So we've been keeping up with this thing where we'll have dinner once a week and we'll watch a Pixar movie that we missed. right? And we're just trying to catch up on all the cool shit because I'm catching up on all the X-Men movies because I just skipped them because I thought they were terrible. But now I'm learning that they're actually not bad. No one warned me. And Haas and Dutch, I'm looking straight into your damn pupils. Why didn't y'all warn me about the Coco movie?
About what? I thought Coco was good.
Coco tore me asunder. I was a mess. I needed 20 minutes to walk from the kitchen to the office, to the living room, to the kitchen, to the office, composing myself when that movie ended. That movie fucked me up.
Yeah.
For real.
Coco is wow.
Remember me.
It was I'm like this because I think either my grandmother was sick or she had just passed.
Man,
it pulled I'm thinking about my grandfather. Man,
it pulled so much up.
Yep, that's almost as bad as the lava song that came before.
Oh, in Moana. Oh, yo, they got
the lava song. I was like, if this motherfucking volcano does not end up with this female volcano, I don't give a fuck how much I paid. We are leaving this movie right now. I literally had to blow my nose. I was bawling at the lava song pre-movie before Moana. I thought I was going to fucking die.
I don't know about that one.
It's very. I have to be careful from now on.
Yeah.
When I watch Pixar films.
Yeah, Coco was wow.
Absolutely uppercutted me.
Yeah.
Like Roy Jones Jr. on Mike Tyson, which we won't have time for today, but
I didn't get to watch that yet.
I didn't get to watch it either, but I saw some highlights and he was holding on for dear life though. Mike was giving them body shots.
Is there any good highlights? Is there anywhere I can see that now?
The Nate Robinson? You want to see Nate Robinson get knocked the fuck out. That's what you want to see.
That's not fair. Nate should have never been in that fight. They wrong for doing that.
I didn't even know Nate Robertson was in a fight.
Nate Robinson and Jake Paul, the YouTuber.
Some YouTube dude, but this YouTube dude has been practicing the fight and had a professional fight.
Jake Paul, the State
YouTuber.
Farm guy?
No, that's
Jake from State Farm, bro. His whole name is Jake from State Farm.
You say the whole thing like a Tribe Called Quest.
You know that there's people are pissed off because they recast him with a black guy.
Who?
White people.
No, who got recast? Oh, Jake from State Farm.
From State Farm.
Yeah, he's a light-skinned black dude now.
Yo, they got a little Michael B. Jordan lookalike up in there. Y'all mad? I know y'all mad.
He a little buffed out too. He a little buffed out too.
I'm mad too. Look, y'all can be mad with me. Fuck Michael B. Jordan and that new Allstate motherfucker. Y'all
as a staff, a record label, and a crew.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here with your fucking good
Well,
look. You're making it harder for the rest of us.
I can't wait for the Little Mermaid boycott when that comes out
because
we all know
it's coming. You know it's coming.
But anyway,
but I got people that talk about snowflakes. They be the biggest snowflakies. Stupid shit.
Can I tell you something that was very good though? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, why didn't y'all warn me about Coco?
I didn't know you needed a warning.
We didn't know you were watching it. We didn't know you were watching it. I would have told
I thought we were boys. Y'all know I'm highly emotional. And y'all didn't shoot me not one.
Hey, if you would have said, hey, I'm watching Coco, I'd have been like, listen, there's a few chill moments and a couple of you might cry moments in that movie.
I didn't think it was that like tear jerking. I think Inside Out was way more.
That's next on. Don't say nothing. That's on the list. That's on the list. Don't say nothing. That's on the list.
Inside Out. I won't. All I'll say is this.
Is that do I get a warning? Is this a warning?
Prepare. Have the box of Kleenex right next to you for Inside Out.
I don't know. I don't know that it was a crier, but it was.
But
it was deep from a psychological level, especially with kids.
Stop! But I just said I'm gonna watch it.
That's not a spoiler. That's not a spoiler.
I don't want no context. Don't tell me nothing about it.
Can I tell you a quote from the movie?
No.
That you won't know what it means until you hear it.
No, because then I'll hear it and then I'll think of your punk ass.
It sounds like he's giving it to you anyway.
I'm not going to tell him. I won't tell him if he don't want to know.
I just want to go in tabla rasa.
He's treating you like a bottom.
I just want to go in tabla rasa and just enjoy it. Like people
trying to watch this movie naked. That's what you're trying to do.
Yes, I'm trying to naked watch.
It says we should call out. Jartan says, first of all, he would be gay for Michael B. Jordan. He also says we should shout out our new patrons.
We do have a new patron.
We do have a new one that I didn't know because I knew we had that Ted guy last week, but I didn't, or 2 weeks ago, but I haven't seen it. I haven't been on there. I've been so busy this week. I haven't looked at it.
It's Jartan.
Oh, well then, Jartan, thank you for joining the Patreon. What level did he sign up at?
$10.
He's at the $10 level. Okay, so he gets to be on the show. Well, he was going to be on the show
next time
anyway.
I shave, I'm gonna save some
Oh,
of my,
gross.
Some of the hairs from my head.
The hair, that's the prize. The hair clippings.
Put them in a mailbox in an envelope for you.
When we used to be sponsored,
it'll be shaving cream and little stubbles.
Well, we used to be sponsored by Manscaped. So
yeah,
it's
they got too big time for us, man. They're all over the place now.
Yeah, leave it to your imagination where those clippings came from. Thanks to the lawnmower 2.0. We got a lot of people we got to have on the show. Delvin Cox is coming back soon. Jartan will be on soon. We'll try to get these guys on. And then we're going to do a real big recap of the end of the year. So I think we'll probably do something fun for that. Real quick, I want to say, if you haven't seen it yet, Teen Titans Go to the movies is fucking hilarious.
Is it? I like Teen Titans.
Teen Titans. And Stan Lee makes a cameo. So
as he should in every Marvel and Disney thing going forward.
Although Teen Titans Go is DC, but
then why is Stan Lee in it?
That was the funny part. It was it was just a joke that I think he did work for DC for a short time, so I think he had a hand in creating one of the Robin characters or something like that. So they had him in there, and he was like, "What the fuck? Where am I at? What movie am I in?" But it was like out of nowhere. But Teen Titans Go to the movies is like, it's freaking hilarious, dude. I love Teen Titans Go. I think that their cartoon is great, and like I know like Imran and Tony hate it, and I'm like, dude, it's totally making fun of itself all of the time. That movie was a riot.
So speaking of things being a riot and people making comments on riots and then making
and then bailing out Kyle Rittenhouse
and making posts on their Instagrams that I disagree with. Big Haas and Dutch, do you guys want to give your take on what did he call it? Unforgiven? Dave Chappelle's Unforgiven.
I want to.
I haven't seen it. I didn't even know it was out. So
damn!
Come on, dude.
But it's fine. Go ahead and go ahead and talk about it. I'm not worried about because I'll watch it. Dave Chappelle transcends reviews.
Okay, all right,
so
I'll give my take.
I'm not worried about it.
I'll give my take.
So it's gonna be me.
Then I'll let you go.
Me and Big Haas fighting here because I know he's gonna be mad at me.
Well, it's gonna be. I'm gonna first just talk about.
How long is it?
It's 18 minutes.
Yeah,
it's like 18 minutes, 20 minutes. So, Dave Chappelle is a goddamn genius. Why? Because he is one of the first comedians that can sit and talk to you about real shit and make it so interesting that it's not even fucking jokes for the most part. You're just listening to him weave this tale and talk about some real shit. But it's so interesting the way he does it that it's entertaining as well as thought-provoking. That's phase one of my take. I love him for that.
I have a question.
He's one of the GOATs for that. Go ahead.
Are we doing step by step? Or are you doing your whole thing that I need to take notes for, and then I'll answer you in kind?
I'm giving the cliff notes. I'm not really gonna go into detail
because I want to push back already.
Okay. All right. Well,
sometimes our heroes fail us. I have loved Bill Cosby.
Yes.
For my entire life.
I still love Bill Cosby as a comedian. As a person, I don't fuck with him.
Until a couple years ago, where I'm just like, you know what? I actually own this was like $150 back in like 2005.
You got the laser disc?
No, I got every. I have every single episode of the Cosby Show.
And you should. You should.
Yeah, but that whole
you got to compartmentalize like people do with Jerry Lee Lewis and Elvis. They do it with Elvis all the time. They do it with Jerry Lee Lewis all the time. They do it with Charlie Chaplin all the time. They do it with Paul Walker all the time. So
Paul Walker,
who compartmentalizes them?
A lot of people.
Other people, not me.
Okay. You know something? You know something? I give you that. I give you that as a person. That's your personal thing.
That I'm saying for me, you gotta come correct in all fields to even
they
be
do it a lot
recognized.
with George Carlin too.
What do you mean?
Well, what him did?
He's always getting chastised for one thing or another.
He's dead.
No, I'm talking about people.
Well,
who
of course
have,
he's dead.
I'm
But
talking
I'm
about
saying,
what did he get chastised for? I don't
remember off the top of my head, but I know that there's been a lot.
I'm talking about like
Louis C.K. too.
No, Louis got gone. I'm done with Louis. Louis fucked it up because that's problematic. You can't do that to women and then expect me to just keep watching your comedy shows like, oh, it's all good. It's all fine and good because I think the jokes is funny. No, you're out of here, big guy. Sorry. There's other comedians I can listen to, and now I have more time to go find new content. That's what that means to me. Sorry, Bill.
I don't hold that with Bill Cosby because I've said this before. You have to separate the in Louis C.K.'s case, he is Louis C.K. In Bill Cosby's case, he was Cliff Huxtable.
And that's you're right.
Yeah, Cliff Huxtable did nothing wrong.
Yeah, I don't fuck with Bill Cosby, but I definitely fucks with Cliff Huxtable.
I totally agree with that.
We don't got to get bogged down on that.
Okay, so how did Dave in that first phase that I'm talking about his performance and how he weaved the story and talked about things? How did he fail you in that? Because I don't want to talk about the second part yet because I haven't given my little spiel on that yet.
The first thing I wrote down was hero worship and hero fall because everybody loved Homelander until they didn't.
Well, they still love the.
But how does that correlate?
It's the same thing because Dave was our guy, right?
He still is my guy.
Dave Chappelle has always been one of those guys who, like Alex Jones, will mention a lot because he goes against the grain sometimes. So this isn't new for him. I don't even know the context of what you're saying, but I know because I didn't see it. But
so in this vignette, we shall call it.
Yeah.
He talks about how, as a young comedian, an older comedian loved one of his jokes and said, "Hey, man, I'm trying to get in front of these people. Can I borrow that joke? I can't borrow it. I buy it from you for $50."
No, he did borrow. He let him borrow it, but the dude kept using it at all the shows.
But then he said, "You can buy it from me," or something like that, right? For $50.
Right.
For $50.
He said, "No, because I need my content because I'm trying to get on. I'm trying to get where you at."
And then the man in response said, "I could just take the joke." Right. And then he stood up and he was very imposing and he kind of
he did take the joke.
I was just a 15-year-old kid and I just didn't know any better.
And he was intimidated. He was scared.
He was intimidated and he was scared, so he did something.
Yes. He got bullied.
So then he goes on to talk about
3-card money.
The 3-card money part, about how he saw somebody in the park and he had just earned $60. He only got to keep $60.
He only had $60.
Yeah,
he only had $60 because
he was on a date.
Yeah, he was trying. The girl was coming.
Yeah, so he's trying to get his money up. He sees a 3-card money. He sees that it's obviously that's got a bin in the car, and I'm gonna do this, and that's how I'm gonna win. I'm gonna make more money, and I can do all this, and then he loses.
Right,
and then he gets gripped up by an OG. It says,
"Yeah,
you need to be quiet."
He said, never stand between a man and his meal."
Right.
Which is profound.
Right.
But go ahead. I want to hear what
this is good the way we were telling it because I'm forgetting some parts and you right there with the rest of it. So I appreciate you.
I got you, brother.
My man. So that leads into him talking about his deal with Comedy Central.
Mm-hmm.
How things went with Comedy Central and the Chappelle Show, him leaving, and then how Chappelle Show was being streamed from Netflix and HBO Max.
Yes.
And he let Netflix know that made him feel like shit. And
because he wasn't getting paid. He wasn't getting no paper from that.
And so they took it down.
Right. Which was a stand-up move from Netflix, in my opinion.
So I'm gonna switch it over to you, Haz.
Yes.
I have an objection to that. But it's not the objection that people might think it is.
Okay.
But it's still Star Wars. So can you defend White Knight from Mr. Chappelle and tell me
I'm a Dark Knight, sorry. But I'm still good. All right, so second phase.
Yes.
Where he talked about entering into a bad deal, basically, with Comedy Central, where he basically he intimated that he was without representation, and the deal that he ended up signing, he signed over his name, or the name of the show anyway, and his likeness.
Yes,
to Comedy Central in
the IP. I apologize.
In perpetuity. Okay. And he talked about how he never got paid when he left the show, when they offered him $50 million, and he was like, I guess it was an extension because the contract wasn't over yet, and they were negotiating an extension basically of the Chappelle show. And he left that, and because he was technically in breach of contract, he never got paid. Nice shot of Dutch's junk.
Got him.
He never got paid. And then come to find out, Comedy Central is allowing Netflix to stream Chappelle show and HBO Max. And as a caveat for context and nuance, he first pitched the show to HBO Max.
Yeah.
To HBO, because there was no Max at that point.
Right.
And they told him, what do we need you for, as they kicked him out the door. And what he has asked people to do is not watch Chappelle's show on Comedy Central or HBO Max until they pay him. Which, on the one hand, they don't have to pay him. And a lot of people will say, well, you signed the contract. And he talked about how he was broke. He didn't know how he was going to pay his rent, So they pretty much had him over a barrel, and he signed this contract.
So here's where I got to push back.
Wait. Let me finish.
All right. I'll wait.
Some people will say,
motherfucker. I'm just kidding. I couldn't help it.
Some people will say if the contract was bad, he shouldn't have signed it. If he didn't understand the language, he should have got representation. Why do we always put the onus on the people signing the contract, like especially in the music industry, but in the entertainment period? Why do we put the onus on those poor people that are trying to improve their lot in life, and not put some of the onus and responsibility? And this is my only space where I agree with Dave, because he's in a position of power now, and he's able to use his platform to push back and shine some light on what these people do. But why aren't we putting the onus on these big media corporations, music labels, etc., to act in good faith? That is my big question. We always say, well, if you don't like the contract, don't sign it. Bitch, I'm hungry. I don't know where I'm going to eat again. These people are offering me $2 million. They're offering me $500,000. It's more money than I've ever seen in my life. Okay. You know? So my question is, why aren't we asking or requiring? It's almost like how sometimes people want to hold criminals to the same standard as the police. And a lot of criminals are just doing crime to put food in their belly, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas the police, they're supposed to be held to a higher standard. I think that corporations, media corporations, especially music labels, etc., who have these lawyers who can craft these contracts that are so one-sided for them and not really giving the artist who's actually giving them the creative content that they need to make their network or their label a success. Why aren't we holding them more accountable for acting in good faith when entering into these contracts and not being a typical big corporation?
So I have a couple of pushback points. I tried to write them down as quick as I could, and I had a couple notes beforehand. So, pop culture trivia question: what is the most sold DVD series of a sitcom ever?
Most sold?
Yes.
I would guess Friends.
Friends.
Guess who beat Friends?
Big Bang Theory.
Guess who beat The Big Bang Theory?
Chappelle Show.
Chappelle Show is the #1 selling DVD series ever. It might have been surpassed like in the last couple of years. I haven't checked in a while. And then I was trying to pull up the fucking link, but my computer's acting weird with me now. That was Dave's deal. If you listen to Unforgiven, he very carefully says things in a way that you would assume that Comedy Central never paid him anything.
He did say that he never got paid.
He said, I never got paid for Chappelle's show.
Right.
He got paid for Chappelle's show DVDs, which is the #1 selling DVD ever.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay.
So if that's the deal that you
what is he getting paid?
Hold on. But this is the thing though. He had the forethought back then, and this is back in fucking 10 years ago. I was calling him a genius because he didn't go for the show money. He didn't go for the contract money. He said, I want the DVDs. I want the take home. That's what I want. Netflix was not a thing yet. HBO Max was not a thing.
He didn't know.
Right.
He didn't know how things were going to change.
But so he made a lot of money from the Chappelle Show. So him out there making it seem like he never got paid, while true, is misleading. He got paid from the DVDs of it.
Right. Just like people like a lot of actors, they'll say, no, I'll take less salary for a piece of the back end.
Exactly. And that's what made Chappelle a genius. And I love watching black businessmen move because this is all fucking 4-dimensional chess of a TED talk for me, because this is how I want to move forward in my life. So I have to watch what they do and see how I can apply that to my life.
That's why you surround yourself with good white people like Dutch.
I don't know how I got roped in here with Dutch.
Now, it took 2.5 hours to get to the best line ever. Okay, 189 episodes of this show. Finally, the truth.
You got to get around some good white people like Dutch. He's good white folks.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And Dave did. And Dave did. And Dave profited. Because the thing he said, like, for me, I have a weird kind of ADD, OCD thing with the words that people say because I can't forget what they say. So when they contradict something that they've said previously, it sends off red flags to me and I have to go back and watch what they said. So I went back and I watched his SNL cold open, his monologue from 4 years ago.
2016.
A couple of interesting quotes I can pull out here for you.
Do it. Because if you know, I went off of the show itself. So you tell me, you give me that info.
So he said, with Trump being elected, I stopped being black and I became a rich black. Now hold on. You want everybody to support you and be this, but now you're above us. And that's why I haven't liked the resurgence of Chappelle, because he lost his street shit and he started talking down to everybody because that everyone was laughing at him talking down to them. But
he didn't do that in 854. or 842 or whatever.
846, buddy.
846. Yeah.
People that internalize that trauma like us, we know exactly.
Yeah, I knew exactly what that. So then here's another one. When I think he was talking about how he was talking to other after the election results came in and Trump won. They're like, "Yo, man, I'm about to head out of here. I'm gonna have to roll out. It's time to go." He said, "No, I'm not leaving. I'm gonna stick around for that for this tax break."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but you didn't get paid from comedy. You didn't get paid by Comedy Central, but you had enough money to move you and your family to South Africa without, like, he didn't even tell Ashy Larry. He didn't tell nobody he was leaving. He left the set. He left the country.
Habitually. He's a habitual line stepper.
But he had no money. He had never been paid. Haas, I don't know about you, but if you ain't been paid in 2 years, you just got cash sitting around for you and the whole family to just dip to South Africa. See? And then he's like, and then they tried to say I was smoking crack and I was being crazy. That's a distractionary tactic. Because no one believes that you were smoking crack, Dave. That's bullshit. But people are attaching that to all of the other things.
You know what? People that want to believe that about black people believe that.
Yeah, I agree with I agree with that. I think that the rationally minded person is probably going to say, well,
he must have been on crack to turn down $50 million.
He didn't even. Dave,
why would you choose South Africa of all places?
South Africa is good, bro.
It's good, bro. There's some dope people down there.
He married. He married to an Asian lady, Korean.
You know
lady.
what? You know, just side topic. I heard someone say the other day. They're like, well, we should talk about going to Africa, and someone was talking about having been in Africa, and the person said, and I overheard this person say, I wouldn't mind going to South Africa because, you know, it's probably safer. That's where the white people are at.
No.
And I was like,
wow.
And I was like, South Africa has a lot more tension than
they're going through a lot of upheaval there. I'd rather go to Ghana.
Yeah, I don't know about maybe Rwanda or Sudan or, you know, Somalia.
Nigeria's got some shit going on too with their cops.
Nigeria's always got some shit going on because they have a corrupt ass fucking military leader. But Nigeria also does have some of the best infrastructure, and some of the more successful Africans are coming out of Nigeria. There's CAO. We're still waiting on that T-shirt.
Yeah, we're still waiting on that care package.
We're still waiting on that care package from CAO Cigars from 2 years ago.
So this cigar is good.
So then he goes on and he makes a reference about how Trump.
You know, I'm totally off script right now.
Trump's making all this shit about how he's gonna.
That's why you can't get rid of that one, by the way.
He's gonna let the rich people keep their money, la da da, and all the tax cuts for the rich and la da da.
Mm-hmm.
So he said. Back when he made an Obama reference about how, and then now we all need to come together. And then he made this huge thing like, oh, I want to keep all this money in myself. I just got this money. And now you tell me I got to share with everybody. So this is the same Dave from 4 years back who got popping on the internet again by talking shit about poor people, by talking down to poor people. And I was saying, hey guys, I'm not getting paid for the show that I signed all the rights away from, that I also kept all the DVD rights to, and gave me millions and millions of fucking dollars, in which I could move to fucking South Africa with no fucking income for 10 fucking years, and then move back to the United States with me and all of my family, and then buy fucking 50 acres in fucking Ohio. But I never got paid a fucking dime.
Hey, that's 10 more acres than he was supposed to get.
That's he's fucking lying, Haas. He's lying his ass off, and he's trying to use comedy to hide it. And I am a fucking student of fucking comedy. I love it. I live it. I breathe it. He is lying. He is leaving out very, very particular
relevant details.
Because he knows that because he wants people to follow this new brand of bullshit that he's pushing. And he tried to harken back and pull our heartstrings and draw us back fucking in again. And it's bullshit. He is not the same Dave. He is not the same Dave.
Let me just say one thing, because I haven't seen this yet. So it'll be interesting watching this with this context from you guys in mind. But not knowing what you're talking about specifically, but one thing I can tell you is that two things, and this is always.
If you say it can be true at the same time, I swear to God, I'm gonna punch you. Oh my God!
I agree, because
put that on the
change
drop.
the fact that doesn't change the fact
that he's not getting paid for
that it's real. So yes, he should have had the foresight to say, or any other, or whatever replaces DVD, because obviously DVD has been replaced. When's the last time you bought DVD? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But rich people in power, regardless of how they got that power, are always going to have a perception of their worth. And it's worse, I think, when it becomes generational, because we talked about last week, when people, a lot of times you'll have minorities who made it, right? And they become the biggest hurdles to movements, right? So because they're like, well, I made it, how come you didn't make it? That sort of thing. Not realizing that they're the T-score on the statistical model. They're the very tail end right there. So
COVID having ass.
But and we got to talk about that astronomy thing before we go too, that I showed you. I don't know if you saw that I showed you, but like here, people go to great lengths to keep their money and their power. Jared Kushner, I don't know if you know about Jared Kushner, about his but Jared Kushner didn't want his father to go to jail. Chris Christie was actually going to be the vice president. You'll understand where I'm going in a minute. Trump was going to pick Chris Christie to be vice president of the United States.
Gross.
As Republicans go, you can do way worse. Hence Mike Pence. However, it was Jared Kushner who, because of the fact that a little history lesson here, that because of the fact that Chris Christie was the Attorney General of New Jersey or New York, one of the two, when Jared Kushner's father went to jail and plea bargained out, Jared Kushner took that so personal that he went to Trump and said, no, we can't let Chris Christie be vice president because of what he did to my dad. And then his sister was going to testify to a grand jury against her father. And Jared Kushner hired a prostitute to seduce his own sister's husband, and then sent her the videotape of her husband sleeping with a stripper as a way to suppress her from testifying against her father. Why would he do this? Because the power supersedes the general responsibility. And I think there's no forgiveness for what Jared Kushner said, I think it does apply in a way to people like Dave Chappelle, because they have this fame or money or status or social stature or whatever you want to call it, and they're so reluctant to give up any degree of that because it would change something dynamic about their existence and about their worth, because they feel entitled. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can understand the anger. Like, I can't understand what Jared Kushner did. That's just like, I'm not trying to make the two things equal, but the psychology, I think, is similar with these two, because just because something bad happened to Dave Chappelle doesn't mean, just because a lot of good has happened to Dave Chappelle doesn't mean that a bad thing or an unfair thing didn't happen to him, and he's going to be not remorseful, but angry about that. And I don't have a problem with the anger.
That's where
that makes sense where I was going with that.
I hear you, but I disagree with it, because I don't think he saw. He is a soothsayer. He is a tea leaf reader. He knew that owning those DVDs, owning the rights to the DVDs, was going to be more profitable for him in the long run, and he bet on the long
game.
He played the long game.
Yeah, he played the long game,
and he won.
And
he won. And now the world has changed around him, and now he wants to change the rules now. And it's like, no, Dave, That's not fucking fair. You can't say no one can stream my show because I didn't agree to that. Motherfucker, it wasn't in existence yet. And it's not like you didn't get nothing. You had the number one, like I think it was something with Viacom, his deal with Viacom, it was something like 80%. Like he owned the DVDs. Like he got paid from the DVDs. Paid. So every time you went to Best Buy and you bought that, Dave Chappelle himself got a little piece of that. So no, Dave, you can't say that everyone is now or that Comedy Central and HBO Max, and I am the biggest hater of large corporations squelching people's personal creativity and their artistry. I hate that shit. But at the same time, you cannot ink a deal with them, end up winning in the deal, and now that the deal is archaic and it doesn't benefit you the way it used to, now you want to flip the script and now don't nobody stream it either. So you want everybody to go out and buy the fucking DVDs again, Dave? They already own them. You bet on a pony that only had short legs, man. And it's not their fault that they had to like all this time. Were we seeing fucking Chappelle's show on Comedy Central and HBO? No, it wasn't until the streaming services became a thing. So the game changed around him, and now he's trying to redouble his money from the Chappelle show. No, you need to go make a new fucking show, Dave. You need to make a show in this day and age, because they made a show in this day and age by taking your old intellectual property and putting it on a streaming platform, which you did not have the foresight for. That's not their fault.
Okay. All right, Mikey. You know what?
So just in the interest of moving the show along. No, we do got to move the show along.
You don't get the answer?
No, I do want him to answer. I just want him to try to keep it to like 60 seconds so we can. I gotta get up early. So.
Oh, it's like
we're in these marathon. Yeah, I know that. You guys are way later than I am, but
okay.
You know,
all right.
Black people don't have to get up for work in the morning, right?
See, let me just go ahead and remove him out of the show real quick.
Crack him.
All right. So my thing is this, Mikey. I agree with you.
Thank you.
Because no matter what, he did sign the contract that takes his image and his likeness, and they technically own the show. They don't own the DVDs per se.
He owns
the show.
Yes.
He owns 80% of the DVDs, which is where he made a mountain of cash. 100%.
Yes.
Because I know I got the DVD set. I'm looking at it right now.
That's in every household.
It's sitting over, because guess what? I'm old school.
I got the bootleg.
I got my DVD tower sitting over here right now, and I can point to my Chappelle show box set.
I knew Haas had a tower. He the last person. He the last person in North America with a tower.
Yeah, you got to
I still got all my cassettes. I got 4 boxes of fucking cassettes.
You need to donate that stuff to the troops or something.
My fucking receiver. I got a receiver. I got a component system. And if you think I don't have a cassette deck, a dual cassette deck in my receiver, my component system, you sadly mistaken.
He got some. He finna overdub some shit. What you need a copy of?
I'm not overdubbing. Hey,
you know what I'm with the radio, right?
You know what I'm doing? This is what
Give me some blank tapes.
I'm listening to my cassettes, writing down the songs, and then downloading them and making playlists in my Spotify.
Oh, new age.
He got a whole box of empty BASF cassettes.
Hey, I got the fucking BASF, the fucking If It Ain't Live, It's Memorex. I got all kind of shit. But I agree with you, because nobody could fathom at the time he signed that deal that there would be streaming.
Right. No way.
No way to do that. So if they own the show and you did sign that contract, and it's not like you didn't get paid anything, you weren't left penniless.
Right.
So
which is how he made it sound.
You're right. You made the best deal you could make for yourself at that time without gaining your image and likeness and actually owning the show.
That was like it wasn't the best. It was like a 200% right call. Like no one would have ever fathomed that the Chappelle show as silly and goofy and political satire as it was going to be bigger than Friends on DVD.
But he
no
knew
one
that.
knew that.
But he believed in himself.
Yes.
He believed in that. And because of that, the most cutting edge technology of the time, DVD.
Yep.
He said, I want that. I want that. I'll take this much for this, and I'll give you the show and stuff, but I need that. Because
this is where the money at.
Because technology and media changed in ways that people could not fathom at that time. Because I doubt if any of the executives or any of the lawyers and stuff that sat at that table and signed that deal with Dave Chappelle were like, he doesn't know that in 15, 20 years, there's going to be streaming and we're going to be able to stream his show and make money from that, and sign a deal with Netflix and sign a deal with HBO Max for that. So I agree with you definitely that number one, he wasn't left penniless, and number two, he signed the best deal he could at the time. And because of the way, now if he had continued with Comedy Central, and he's seeing the landscape change, then when it's time to re-up, you change.
Yeah.
And hey, guess what? I want to transfer my DVD portion to any streaming and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But you can't do that because you acrimoniously, especially, left Comedy Central. So you can't go back and say, hey, let's renegotiate this, or you got to give me a piece of that. I definitely agree with you. You changed my mind, Mikey. Very good job.
Thank you, sir.
Uncensored is also the fastest selling TV to DVD disc ever, based on an article from the newest article I see here is 2005. But
I never even heard of that. What's Uncensored?
Dave Chappelle.
That was his first Netflix.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The Chappelle Show season 2 Uncensored.
you're talking about Chappelle Show?
Still talking about Chappelle Show, right?
Yeah, Chappelle Show season 2.
Sticks and Stones. Sticks and Stones.
Oh, he's talking about Chappelle Show Uncensored.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, my man, he did it. Like, he cracked the fucking Matrix Da Vinci Code. Like, he solved that shit.
Right.
And he saw through the TV.
But he did it. He did it in that time frame. Like, I was still with my ex when Chappelle Show came out. So that's a long fucking
and then for him to come out and again, I don't want to champion big corporations and big businesses, but I did not see Comedy Central putting out the Chappelle Show reruns a year, 2 years after he left.
They tried to do the reboot.
Right, which was at the unfinished season,
basically the lost episodes and stuff that.
So that was 3 because they never actually finished 3 because he was gone. He just dipped.
Yes.
So they finished off the season because they had to pay everybody else who needed to get paid on that fucking contract that he just fucking walked away from. But he don't talk about Donnell.
Now, you know something though.
Don't talk about Charlie.
I can understand him not wanting to sell his soul, because he had already given him so much, I guess. He did not want to sell his creative side to them.
But that's revisionist history. That's not why he left the show. He's done 15 different interviews saying why he left the show. It's because he thought his jokes were kind of being laughed at as opposed to laugh with.
Right.
And people, he's like, yo, I'm doing this wrong. He had a moment. He said, I'm done with this shit. And he decided to do what was best for him and his. More power to you. But do not try to come back in 2020 and tell me I can't watch your show streaming on something else after you'd already done made the whole fucking the mint. You've made the mint off of the show. And now because you feel some type of way, I have to stop watching it. That's bullshit. You're trying to play both sides towards the middle. You've been on some weird, goofy shit ever since you came back. I'll be the only last motherfucker, the real motherfucker to say it. Dave Chappelle has changed. He is not the same guy anymore. He's not For What It's Worth Dave. He's not Live at the Fillmore Dave. He's different now.
Well, you got to understand too that guess what? Just like rappers should change when their circumstances change, He's changed, and it might be a little bit of that. They getting coins that I should have. Rich people thinking. Rich people think, hey, guess what? That's that part of that is my money. They don't necessarily think, hey, guess what? I made the best deal I could at the time. I didn't see the times changing like that, or I would have put it in the deal. Right. You know what I mean? Or I would have thought about that, because he had the forethought to know that, hey, DVDs are the hottest thing smoking right now, and I know they're going to only be hotter in a couple of years. So I want a piece of that back end.
Right.
But he couldn't he couldn't fathom. Yeah, you're right. He couldn't fathom there's going to be freaking online streaming and all of these little boutique media networks. No, nobody could tell you that. I would be like, what?
YouTube was even crazy back then. Like you go on YouTube, it was a bunch of people with fucking weirdo cameras posting videos of their cat sleeping. Mm-hmm. And look at it now, where it's a multi-billion-dollar platform.
I remember when you could see some dirty ass shit on YouTube.
You could see some stuff on YouTube, or entire full shows where people had ripped the entire. I watched Dragon Ball Z on my fucking.
If you know where to find it, you can still find that shit. It just has ads in it.
Yeah,
like you can find whole Chappelle Show episodes.
Yeah,
and now it's all been now they found a way to monetize all of it. But they were just ripping shit and posting shit back in the day. And
it was like Napster.
Still, it was wild out there. But I love Dave, and I hope Dave sees the error in his ways. I know he's watching tonight. I know you saw that.
Dave, we know.
I love you, bro.
Yeah, he just commented and said, "Go fuck yourself, Mikey."
I want my money. Give me my money.
Cool. I mean, a lot of people get mad after they get money, and then they start getting treated like regular people, and then they start feeling some type of way. So I love you, Dave. You're still on Mount Rushmore for me, but I think the way you're moving right now is real small. For you to be a legend, you moving real small right now.
I think he's just trying to collect some chips that if he's just trying to get all his chips he can.
Remember when he was so mad about outrage culture, and here he is trying to cancel Netflix because they playing his show that they.
He's not canceling. He's not trying to cancel Netflix though. If you listen to the show, he said, "Don't watch the show." He's definitely not trying to cancel Netflix.
See how he's trying to cancel viewership.
He's trying to cancel. He's trying to cancel HBO Max and Comedy Central from streaming, from watching his show. People watch all kind of shit
that he gave them permission
Max and Comedy Central though.
He
does though have permission, but he also has permission to ask people not to do it.
Yeah, closed mouths don't get fed.
But this is the same dude who wanted to make the L, the G, the B, and the T joke. And now you're so sensitive about not getting all your little coins from a show that you ain't done in 100 years, that you walked away from and that you made a mint off of. You sound like a hypocrite to me. You sound like you want to have your cake and you want to eat it too. And that's bullshit. You can't do that, Dave. Especially
didn't he walk that back though, to a degree?
Walk what back?
The LGBT jokes?
No, he doubled down. He said a T. He said that.
I'm thinking. Never mind. I'm thinking of Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart went pussy on that shit,
but that's what I'm saying. So he wants to live by the sword, but he refuses to die by the sword. He refuses to let anybody make money on anything that he's not getting a sniff of. Well, guess what, Dave? That's not how fucking shit works, dude.
He wants his piece, okay? You don't sell a fucking cigarette on the street unless I get a piece of it, or you have my approval, right?
It's my turf. It's a turf. My corner.
But that's what I'm talking with the hero.
85th and Bensonhurst. This is
remember when I said let's wrap this up in 60 seconds? That was 13 minutes ago.
Well, that wasn't just me.
But that's just me. But that's the hero worship in the fall of heroes. And I think it needs to happen because I think we do need fresh blood into the comedy game. And I'm sorry, Dave, I'm not backing you no more. I listened to Joe Budden's podcast and everybody was on Dave's side, and Dave's so right. We've been talking about this the whole time because they just had this big blowout thing with Spotify. And then they went and then Spotify went and paid.
They got fucked by Spotify though.
Absolutely. I agree with them 100%. But then they act like their situation is the same thing as Dave Chappelle.
No.
And it's not. It's really not. And it's so frustrating to hear super.
You really loved Joe Budden gripe.
Oh, I listen. I listen every week.
I've never heard a show of his before.
Well, maybe you should listen.
It's
Maybe
pretty good. If you
listen.
You can check it out on Revolt as well.
Yes,
but
maybe I can download it on YouTube.
It's on YouTube as well. But the thing is like they had a good product and they were totally undervalued by Spotify, and they decided to leave as opposed to take the pennies that they felt that they were getting. Right. Spotify turned right around and gave Joe Rogan all this money, but they didn't want to give them anywhere near that. That's why they left. Long story short.
Because they black, man. You know how it is.
They talk about that urban stuff. So they're all defending.
Is Joe Button black?
Yeah, he's a rapper.
I don't know who Joe Button is. I've never heard of the guy before. Mikey talked about him before.
You ever heard of Slaughterhouse?
No.
Slaughterhouse with Eminem, Crooked Eye, Joe Button.
I remember a game on TurboGrafx 16 called
Joe Button has a
pump.
I think it's what, 20? Is it a 20-minute song?
Pump it up.
That song. He has. I think it's 20 minutes long. A song called "Walk with Me."
Mm-hmm.
That song.
Oh,
it's a great song, dude.
I forgot to fucking make that playlist for Dutch. I'm gonna put "Pump It Up" on there.
And you got to put "Fire Yes Yes Y'all" on there with Busta Rhymes.
Yes,
he's trying to get me turned on to recent music, and I'm very.
But that's not recent. But
"Pump It Up" is like 2004.
I like the 90s and early 2000 stuff, but I'm biased and bigoted towards my music. I want to get Mikey's thoughts real quick on this because I know he likes astronomy. Are you going to be betting on any football games or anything? I mean, I guess on December 21st, I think this is kind of cool. Jupiter and Saturn will be, I don't know if this is a good represent. I guess this was the last time in 2004 that the two bright stars, they're going to be even closer. They're going to appear to be almost one star.
Planets.
No, they're going to appear in the sky as one star. Obviously, they're
a star is different than a planet. You can't call them you can't. Oh, let's talk about astronomy. We'll call the two planets stars. Like
they're going to look. Planets and stars in the sky look the same. You can't differentiate one from the other unless you track the movement.
That's not true.
Tell them.
How is that not true?
Stars twinkle, planets don't.
Planets don't.
They
boom.
For someone who has, I'm like an astronomy nerd. I don't. First of all, stars don't twinkle on their own. That is an atmospheric effect. They don't spin. They don't fucking twinkle in space.
Do you think
the pulsar?
Do you think
see how the most fun story turns into a fucking fight on the show? I love it.
No.
If you're in space, stars do not twinkle. That is an atmospheric effect.
Do you think that all of the light comes uniformly from a star?
Do I think all the light comes? No, it comes in different forms of light. You have everything on the spectrum comes at
not the different kinds of electromagnetic radiation. I'm talking about, does the light come out of that star evenly in the entire surface area? Does it come out evenly, or are there splotches of it?
Well, I've never wondered about that before. But take a ride with me. I'm not sure why it's important, but the cosmically speaking. But I would say that the answer is probably no. Although light travels at the same speed, but again, there are different types of light. You have ultraviolet light, you have gamma, all of these different things on the spectrum from
electromagnetic spectrum.
There's a spectrum of light, gamma being the most powerful of the rays that are emitted. And I would imagine that those have different properties and therefore do not come out the same. A planet would be different because a planet is reflected light. However,
there you go.
However,
emitting and reflecting is very different.
But it is, again, I'm not really sure why this is important. But
does the moon twinkle, Dutch?
No, but the moon is a lot closer to us, number one. And number two, when the moon is lower in the atmosphere, it appears to be big and orange, which it does not in the top, and that effect does not happen to stars.
Do you know why it looks bigger? It's called the Terminator.
Yeah, it looks normal. It looks normal if you apparently if you flip your head upside down or something. Like
you can literally measure it, and it's the exact same size. It's just that the buildings as a backdrop, as opposed to the stars, make it appear bigger. It's called the Terminator illusion. Yeah, it's a Terminator.
Yeah, it's not really. It's not really bigger, but it's the size, I think, is part of it, but of what the trick of the eyes is. But also, you're looking through more. If you're looking up, you're looking through less air than you are if you're looking sideways, because you're looking through.
You've just moved the goalpost, because we were talking about twinkling, and now you've brought it in color.
I'm talking about. Well, I was speaking specifically about the moon, because the moon is getting reflection from the top of the Earth itself. The other side of the Earth that has sun is reflecting its light back on the moon when it's on the horizon. So you see that's I think that the reason why it has a more orangey color is a different reason than why it's bigger. I don't think those are the exact same reason.
It's just scattering some of the longer wavelengths, which get you lower into the color spectrum, and infrared is the lowest. And then that's why it's not quite that low, but you get into the oranges and the yellows and all that stuff. That's what that is. But the whole point about the atmosphere was we look at the moon through our atmosphere every time we see it, and we never see the moon twinkle. We see stars twinkle because it is uneven light, which is magnified by our atmosphere. Planets are reflecting light as opposed to emitting light, so it's very uniform. Because it's very uniform from the sun to Jupiter back to your eyeball. It's a very long journey. I think it would probably take probably about 20 hours for that light to go from the sun to the surface of Jupiter and then hit your eye.
Well, so I appreciate
it's very, very uniform. So if you guys are out there looking, and I always encourage everybody to look up, like my stepdaddy Neil deGrasse Tyson always says.
My stepdaddy.
You can, my real daddy. You can tell that if you're looking at something and you think it's a star, but it doesn't twinkle at all. If you watch it for 30 seconds a minute and it doesn't twinkle, that is a planet. And you can pull up an app on your phone and it will tell you exactly which one. Every star that I know of twinkles, and it waxes and it wanes, and there's always some differentiation in the light, and that is because stars do not emit uniform energy. They have their swells, their cold spots. They have a bunch of shit going on with them.
Right. However, again, I appreciate the lesson on the start, because I'd never thought or cared or thought that was important before. But I was reading right here where it says Jupiter and Saturn, the two bright stars, really planets. But I didn't get that far. Earth Sky?
Yeah, .com.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be a .com?
Yeah, okay.
So
go on any like institutional academic website and see if they call it a fucking star.
I think what they're doing is they're trying to dumb it down for people who don't really realize the difference, and say, look, like when my kids look at the sky, they think stars. Obviously, we tell them, well, this brighter. We don't like where I live. The light pollution is so bad that you can only see about 6 stars, but you can see most of the visible planets. I think we have a hard time seeing Saturn here, so I'm not sure how great it's going to be in our town.
You can't see Saturn for real without binoculars or a telescope. You can kind of see like a light, very, very small, a little bit up to the top left of Jupiter, but it's so hard to see. Oh, it's hard.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering how beautiful this is, because they're saying it's going to appear to be way brighter.
It's going to wash it. It's just going to wash it out. This is a bullshit article. It's just going to wash it. It's just going to wash it out.
But I thought it was also interesting that it's going to happen on the solstice.
Oh, the Mayans were right.
Yeah, so I was curious as to if there'd be any conspiracy. Now, see, again,
I'm totally off script
That's why this one can't go, because just an interesting fact that I thought I'd point out turns into a 11-minute discussion. I love this show.
Damn right.
We have this uncanny ability to not be able to talk about anything, which is why Mikey's genius of 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, when he came up with that shotgun session, we have to start implementing that a little bit around here and put ourselves on a clock, because we will go Forever, ever. Forever, ever. Forever, ever.
Just split it in half.
Oh, I'm doing that. I'm
Yeah.
doing that.
So
but the YouTube
videos,
the YouTube videos, I have to be able to do because nobody ever watches our YouTube videos once they're up. They watch them when they're live. We get about 30 to 50 views per show on YouTube, usually when I look the next day. But then weeks later, it's still at 30 to 50 because nobody's going to watch a 3.5 hour.
No, I know. I have a bunch of buddies who work either in the medical field or security work or in warehouses, and they got their headphones. They already got the YouTube Premium or whatever it is. They just pop that bitch in, lock their phone, and then they get on what to get on. And if we're saying something that makes them want to look at the screen, then they'll pop it out of their pocket.
Oh, that's what I do too. But I think that I'm a rarity. I don't think most people do that because, like, I was listening to YouTube videos today as I was driving to the courthouse, which is 2.5 hours away.
Wow.
And yeah,
you better than me.
And well, I got out of the ticket. I could have just paid it in the mail, but I decided to take a shot. I shot my shot, as they say.
Shoot your shot, Dutch. Shoot your shot.
So anyway, last word. Who wants it?
Well, we didn't talk about racism versus bigotry, but that's okay.
No, well, we didn't have to talk about that right now. But I wanted you guys to watch that because I thought it was interesting. Did you guys watch that video I sent?
I didn't watch it. I watched 100%
seconds of it, and then my kid came in, and I had to.
You watch a couple seconds, and you're like, "Fuck this old white preacher." No, but you should watch it. I thought it was very good. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. Also, I want to show you just real quick a picture of a guy who we're going to have a sound clip from.
I hope it's Bob Ross. Can we get Bob Ross in there?
Oh yeah.
I need a happy little trees drop.
I'm forgetting the guy's name off the top of
put some moss on.
Oz. And also I think we need a Mandalorian. This is the way.
This is the way.
Yeah, this is the way.
Instead of totally off script when we mentioned that we're on a
yes, this is the way. The way of the
underground way.
The Mandalorian way, baby.
Right.
All right, this guy right here is a guy that we're gonna have a clip of. You guys know who this guy is?
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Leave Shemp alone,
dude. Kenneth Copeland is
Shemp,
the man.
Out his motherfucking mind.
That's Shemp. Y'all leave Shemp off of this.
Kenneth Copeland.
Tell me that's not the Joker.
You better get your prayer rag. You better get your prayer rag and your blessing oil.
You got your anointing oils?
I'm trying to tell you.
Nothing you will do will prosper. I will knock the Jesus out of you.
You better send your $20 in to get that 1 inch by 1 inch prayer rag. Yeah. I like when he goes like this and he washes his hands over the crowd and everybody falls out. That's the best.
Look, I'm gonna solo myself because he went like this. He said, "COVID-19," and then he stops.
Yeah,
and he thinks from it, COVID-19, and when he can't think of anything, he goes, "Praise Jesus." COVID-19.
COVID-19 need to be praising Jesus.
Praise Jesus. COVID-19. You better.
And here's what happened. When he makes that pause, there's somebody watching going, take your time, Rev. Take your time. Because in the black church.
Preach,
man. Oh, yeah, they talking back to you.
The preacher will pause like that, and they'll say, take your time, Rev. Take your time. We here.
Now you better go ahead and tell them.
And then they'll say something like, y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me in here. Y'all don't hear me. We hear you, Rev. We hear you.
No, you know what? Pastors are seriously dudes who just couldn't make it in rap battles. It's like, hold on.
Make it as pimps.
Hold on, let me just take it back. Y'all want me to rewind it? Nah, bro, we do not want you to rewind it. Pastors get up there. Jesus. No, y'all don't hear me. Let me run it back. And then they got to
I said Jesus.
Y'all can't hear me now.
Jesus is good.
This guy did not say Jesus is good though. You know what he said? He said, you better not think if you were struggling with COVID-19, that you better not give your 10%. You better still give your 10%.
He said that? That's
and his finger, his finger's shaking.
Oh, you look like Tool in the sober video.
You better still give that 10%. Jesus he'll curse you.
Right.
Did you ever see
that
motherfucker
got a Bentley payment due? That's why.
Did you ever see that clip of him where he's talking to the female reporter and he's like, "You demon, oh sweetheart," and then he touches her. He's like, "Oh, bless you, child. I love your dress." Have you ever seen that one?
That sounds like some that sounds like some Joe Namath. I just want to kiss you shit.
Oh my God!
I can't deal with them creepy old dudes like that.
No, look up Kenneth Copeland. Google it. Kenneth Copeland reporter. It's about a 7-minute video, but he is the most creepiest, evil fucking dude there is. I mean, Kenneth Copeland is, if he were to be gone tomorrow, the world would be a far better place. I'm not wishing death on anybody, but if God sees it to take Kenneth,
if it's
Copeland,
God's will that I'm taken from this earth.
He is up there, and then is it past? It's a priest Frank. Shit, what's this guy's name? I'm gonna look it up right now. You guys don't know who I'm talking about?
No. Now I know about Joel Osteen, and I know about Creflo Dollar.
I think it's Fryer.
You want to know who I want to see, Big Haas? I want to see a debate between Farrakhan and Copeland.
That would be fun.
I would love that.
Did you peep Farrakhan on Busta Rhymes' new album?
You know I did. I had to run that one back, and on the first listen, I had to.
I can't stop listening to that album.
You're welcome. I got a bunch more for you.
So good. It's so good.
Right up your alley. Pause.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't find who this. Oh, this is the guy right here.
Oh, that's good. I'm down here getting tipsy, y'all. We gotta close this off for I can't.
Yeah, we'll go. This dude right here. Let me pull the tab up here. Sorry for the person listening on the audio part, but it is what it is. This dude right here is
what's his name?
It's Frank Pavone, right there. I knew his
Italian name.
Yeah, this guy is him and Kenneth Copeland. Are
they cut from the same cloth?
They are birds of a feather. Like these, what the fuck has happened? I understand where people like Mikey, like atheists.
Mm-hmm.
I get it with these types of people out there. I totally get it. I don't think these people represent religion or God. I would say they represent their religion, their organized faith, and their followers.
They recognize themselves.
I assure you of one thing: the historical Jesus would never act the way that these two guys did. Jesus is an idol of mine. I don't care what anybody fucking says. Jesus was super progressive for his day.
The idea of Jesus.
Well, Jesus is there. I mean, are you saying you don't? I'm not sure what you're saying there when you say the idea.
I am not.
So I can send you a link.
The historical Jesus did exist.
That's not proven.
It's not proven. It's not proven in some ways, but there is enough mounting evidence out there, archaeologically speaking, as well as what the oral record. The oral record
snuffed out. Okay, I got you.
Well, no, okay, big difference here.
Not
Moses. Really. Well, yes, but you have to remember you have your bias, and you're speaking from your bias right now. The Bible was written. And the Gospels of the Bible were written sometime between Mark is probably the first gospel that was written. The first three are called the Synoptic Gospels, and then you have John, which was written around 75 to 80 AD. Within 30 to 60 years is when the Matthew, Mark, and Luke were written. There is enough eyewitness testimony within that short of amount of time where the people who read that actually saw or heard of him. Now, that doesn't mean that every story of him is true. That doesn't mean that every representation or quote of him is accurate. But the existence, the fact that someone named Jesus, who was from Nazareth and was a rabbi or teacher, that person did walk the earth. I'm not talking about whether or not things that he said were changed but that person, the likelihood that he does not exist is minutely small. That is not the case with people like Abraham. I believe that Abraham is an amalgamation of a multitude of different people who they call Abraham. There is almost no historical evidence to show that Abraham existed.
What if I told you I talked to a PhD who did his thesis on the historicity of Jesus?
Historicity.
I was taught by PhDs who did this. Like I said, my degree is in religious studies, or one of my degrees. And
but
I
I'm biased. But I'm biased.
In this bitch.
But I'm biased. But I'm biased.
Well, you're biased by a faith. I'm not. Religious studies is not theology. You don't confuse the two. Religious study is like, if I were to tell you history, let me explain what I mean here. If I were to tell you that there is a history of, how do I get this fucking from here? Oh, here we go. If I were to tell you something about the history of Shinto or of Islam or something of that nature, very few people are going to, atheists even are going to say, well, we don't know that Shinto person actually existed, or this, that, or the other. If you look at Taoism, there's pretty strong historical record from Chinese writings of faith that show that the founder of that religion and the founder of Zoroastrianism did exist. With very little vigor will atheists contest that, but with Jesus, for some reason, they do, because Jesus is the king, more or less, of all organized religions when it comes to world a dominant force in the world.
So there's a difference between supposed written documents from 2,100 years ago to actual written documents that I can read right now that are 10,000 years old.
Explain to me how I don't know what I'm saying, because I would fucking love to hear that. So the what I am saying is that a person existed. There is almost no, you cannot prove, number one, that Jesus did not exist. I'm not talking about whether or not he was the Son of God. I'm not talking about whether or not the quotes that he said are accurate. I'm not talking, because that's all oral tradition that was written down 30 to 40 years later. However, the fact that they're based on something that close to when the person was supposed to be walking around makes the probability that it was completely made up by the system almost zero. Cool.
What is your percentage on the probability of it? Because I'm going to send you the link and we can revisit this next week.
Oh, I'd love to. Because for every study that you pull up on that, you can pull up, and that has nothing to do with religion. I'm not advocating for
same thing about climate change, same thing about black people being targeted by the police. You can pull up whatever you want that proves your cognitive bias. I did not come into this trying to prove that Jesus was real. I'm not trying to prove that he is either, but I asked a question and I looked for results, and I actually had a guest who had answers and had results, and he went through his whole thing with me for an hour and a half. So I'm more than willing to look at your evidence if you're more than willing to look at mine.
All I said was that Jesus was progressive for his day. That's all I said.
I just feel like,
and your reaction to that was like, oh, well, we don't even, I could tell what you were thinking.
I just feel like, we know that the Bible or the stories of God were written and rewritten and written and rewritten.
Sure.
And always with an agenda in mind.
Right. I don't disagree.
With that, my thought process leads me to believe, was Jesus himself just created with an agenda in mind?
Well, the problem with that is that there is historical record for Paul. Okay. Mm-hmm. And while Paul, again, going off biblical record here, never physically talked to Jesus, because Paul, when he was Saul, met Jesus on the road to whatever, I forget, Tarsus, I think it was, and was a tax collector. And then he was he saw the not really reincarnated, but the spirit version of Jesus that came to him. But when he started talking about Jesus to other people and trying to spread that message along with the rest of the apostles and with Peter and James and John and all these other guys, who many of whom there is historical record for their execution, then the idea that Jesus wouldn't have been there as part of that movement, at least in some capacity, and just was fictitiously made up and an amalgamation of a bunch of people, like it's clear that Abraham was and that Moses probably was too, is a little bit far-fetched in my degree. So Paul never wrote about meeting Jesus ever. Not reliable. It was forged. Well, Paul never wrote about meeting. Paul met Jesus after Paul never met Jesus. Jesus was dead before Paul converted. So I'm not really sure. And I'm not saying it wasn't forged. The fact that the Bible was, and I'm reading a comment here for the listeners from ECN Works. The fact that Paul must have met someone. Those ideas came from somewhere, because Paul himself attributed those ideas to people who existed in his community, that they knew who that person was. And those ideas that Paul was attributing to that person were attributed to that person because that person carried more weight than Paul did. So people would have to at least have some idea of who that person was, or heard of him second or third or 15th hand, to the fact that person, the idea that person would have just been made up altogether, again, is far-fetched. I can't put it at 100%, but I certainly think that saying it's 99.5% is somewhat reasonable. And again, you don't have to. I'm not trying to prove divinity here. Right.
I didn't ask you to. So now you're strawmanning me, because I never said any of that. You're saying your own argument, and I'm fight against it.
I'm talking to the listener here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But like, I'm not trying to prove divinity. So like, that's not a conversation that I feel like having, because I can't prove that. I can't prove anything when it comes to God, because I believe there is a God, but I don't believe that God is transcendent in the world in any way, shape, or form. So for me to try to prove it is kind of dumb. I do believe in cosmological theory to a high degree. I think that it makes a plausible argument. And if I'm going to put merit into like the Fermi equation and Darwin, and I was going to say Darwin, that's not the one I was looking for. Drake, thank you. The Drake equation. Then I have to kind of put stock into Kalam cosmological theory as well. And Kalam cosmological theory, by the way, is not Christian; it's Islamic. But it's interesting.
I wonder what gave that away.
Not the name.
Well, Barack Hussein Obama.
Algebra.
Oh, I can. And okay, SCM. Let me put this question up.
Let me help you out. Ease
is okay. I see. It's a
easeism.
I can show you three. He's saying here, our listener is saying, I can show you 3 examples of Messiah before Jesus as well. Actually, the possible inspirations for said story. I certainly agree. I certainly agree with that.
Egyptian.
But that in itself doesn't take away from the fact that the person may have lived. The attributing the role of Messiah to him. I think there was probably more than 3. I think, and if you're willing to go outside of different religions, I think you could probably come up with a lot more than that. It's clear that Jesus had a lot of inspiration from Buddha, and
Egyptian
like that.
mythology as well.
So I didn't mean to disrail this. The
whole Trinity story is taken from Egyptian.
Yeah. Well, and I don't believe in the Trinity, because there's the Trinity was added to the Bible later.
Well, I'm just saying that that story and the virgin birth and all of that good stuff, even the crucifixion or death of Christ can be traced back to Egyptian mythology.
So
I would totally agree with that, and Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology as well. There's a lot taken from the Bible. For example, like angels were taken from like ISIS and a lot of the other concepts within the Egyptian faith, the polytheism that was that wrapped around the Egyptian religions. But the idea of Christ, when it comes to divinity, I have no really opinion on that, because it's not a provable thing. So it's sort of senseless to have a conversation about that. You know what I mean? So
you might feel that way, and let's set it up for another time. I'd love to have Ease on and talk with y'all.
Yeah.
Or it's a conversation to be had. I don't have a dog in this fight. You know what I'm saying?
Me either. I'm more of an agnostic theist. I believe in a higher power. I am definitely not for organized religion, though. So,
and an atheist is the common trope, but lacktheist is the easy and best way to describe me, because I ain't seen nobody's shit work yet, so I have no confidence in anybody's ideas.
This is a very true statement here. So another thing we agree on, the origins of the Catholic Church. So, oh God, I'm getting tired. All right, so we can always talk about that, because religion is something that, like, and faith studies, religious studies, that sort of thing. Some of the more fascinating religious studies are those that are centered around some of the African faiths and Native American faiths. Those
Mother Africa, mother of all civilization.
And although if you're going to bring up the Black Egyptians again, then we're going to have to disagree, because
Jesus
that's
fucking Christ, dude.
You have to follow the science, right? But
that's why Jesus was white. Get the fuck out of here.
Whoever said that? I didn't.
All white people.
Well, yeah, but see, that's something that we understand as false, and that was created by Western society. Jesus Christ was Arab-ish, So
what do you mean ish?
Well, it depending on what you believe about being true about whether or not Christ was actually Joseph's son. Joseph, if memory is serving me correct here,
they got Europeans over there.
Was not of the same origin as Mary was.
So they got European. They got Europeans over there.
European? No.
Yeah. They got Africans.
That's very possible.
They got Arabs.
Where are you going? I'm trying to understand where you're going. Are you wondering if I'm going to say that Jesus was part white, because I wasn't?
I'm just saying, if you're surrounded, if you're surrounded by nothing but blacks and Arabs, you're either black or Arab.
Well, okay. Well, that brings into question another thing, and I'll bring up Shamasha here. Shamasha will, and Haas, this, he will resoundingly deny the fact that he is white, right?
Yeah, but he enjoys all the trappings of being white.
But what I'm saying, right? But Persians, and people who from ancient Iraq and stuff like that. That's not the same. Persians are not Arab. Okay, and to say Persian is Arab is false. That is not true. So if Joseph's origins, I've seen a lot of somewhat reasonable. Did I say Joseph? Yeah, Joseph. I want to make sure I didn't say the wrong thing. I've seen some somewhat plausible research that suggests that Joseph may have been Persian. So Persian is not Arab. So that's why I say Arab-ish. But people from not Armenia. What is Shamasha again? I forget.
He is
Assyrian. He's Assyrian.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm a little too drunk.
People of Syrian descent, they don't look at themselves as being Arab. So at least a lot of them don't. But and Jewish people, are Jewish people Arab? Hebrews are
Middle Eastern.
Yeah. So I tend to put them together with that, but they don't. So that's why I say ish. So again, it's amazing. We say one thing and it turns into a fucking 45-minute goddamn conversation.
That's right.
But anyway, so Big Haas, take a couple minutes and Fuck, take an hour at this point. We'll take it home.
I'm gonna try to leave it. I'm gonna try to cut it short.
We gonna watch the whole thing before we leave.
Jesus was not in any way, shape, or form white, nor does any person with a brain say that. So
I hope not. Well, yeah, okay.
Don't tell the Catholics.
They don't.
Blonde hair, blue eyed Jesus down. They're gonna be fucking pissed.
I guess taking us home. I just wanted to dream a little dream. How about that?
The impossible dream?
I am dreaming of an America after this transition is done that
There'll be no transition.
Returns to the realm of common sense, the realm of believing science, especially reputable science that is, tested, reviewed, you know what I mean? And not, I guess, the realm of anything that you want to call opinion, you have to respect. I've long been of the mindset of you are more than welcome to have your opinion, but opinions, once you voice them, are you have to be open to defend your opinion once you publicize it. And if your opinion is based in ignorance, if your opinion is not based in anything that is plausibly supportive of that opinion, you must be mature enough to say, as I did earlier, I was of the opinion that I supported Dave Chappelle. Mikey presented a great case and introduced facts that say, you know what? Upon listening to Mikey and seeing the introduction of new facts that I had forgotten about or not known, I am man enough to change my opinion based on new information, factual information, not just what I feel. Are you out there, man or woman enough, to return to the land of being mature enough to not just say, well, that's my opinion? Because some of your opinions push policies that harm other people. And that is where you're going to get pushback. Because when other people's lives are in the balance, when other people's livelihoods are in the balance, and you are pushing or holding on to an opinion that is purely based on what you feel. I don't feel this election was honest. I don't feel this election, where you're looking at all the evidence out there that says, hey, guess what? This election was just fine. Minus the normal election shit that happens. There was no widespread fraud.
Conspiracy.
You can't just say it doesn't feel right to me, so you got to respect my opinion. I don't have to respect your opinion. I can respect the fact that you have an opinion, but I can also challenge that opinion. But the thing is that your opinions, once you publicize them, are subject to scrutiny. And you have to be mature enough to not only handle that scrutiny and defend your scrutiny, but if the facts levied in the challenge are that change that opinion, you have to be man or woman enough, be courageous, have integrity, and change your opinion. This man's lawsuits are being thrown out of court. Judges are getting pissed off because these lawyers are coming in here with these bogus ass lawsuits. You got all these bogus ass conspiracy theories. Oh, the USB drive, he manipulated information right there on hundreds of thousands of votes in 45 seconds. What kind of bullshit is that? Come on, y'all. Come back to us. Come back to the land of common sense. Come back to the land of actual evidence. Come back to the land of science. Come back to the land of, you know what? I might have an opinion, but if I get information that challenges that opinion or that challenges that ideology, and I can't refute it, I'm not going to shift the goalpost around and try to make myself right. I'm going to stand courageous as a man or a woman and say, you know what? You're right. I may not like it, but that's what it is. And I'm going to change my mindset based on new information. Because if we don't do that, if we hold on to this, well, that's my opinion, I'm going to stick to that, we will never heal and we will never move forward. We will never progress. Because guess what? Them politicians out there, if they see you holding on, they're going to continue to patronize you with their bullshit and keep us apart and not do a goddamn thing for either of us. For either of us on either side of the ideology, whatever it, the 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 sides it might be, they won't work for us until we're able to come together and say, you know what? Based on facts, we're unified here. Based on our needs, we're unified.
Oh, he's spitting.
We need that. Based on facts, we're unified in these areas, and we need these areas addressed. You know, that's what you have to think about. Let's come back. That's my dream, that people come back to common sense, reviewing facts, and being courageous enough to change their mindsets and their opinions and their ideologies based on the facts presented that you cannot refute.
Well, and there you go. And also, I think it's fair to say that we have been, if you want to give the argument that Bobby gave about all elections have been fucked up, then change the election system.
Yeah. Get rid of the electoral college, go by the popular vote, call it a day.
Well, but that wouldn't change it, because then they'd say, and I'm not saying this as a defense of the electoral college, because the electoral college is absurdly dumb. At least,
well, you know what that. Well,
especially
we'll go into that when they're going to go
yeah.
into tangent on why the electoral college is even there in the first place.
Yeah, it's an antiquated system, but that's 100%. The point. If you, but even if it was just the popular vote, they would have said votes were fraudulent, and there was 4.5 million fraudulent votes, and it's still about getting this number under this number. Instead of doing it in 8 states, they would have done it in one big.
It was 150 million votes.
You know, they call them
cast.
They call them drops. That's what
they are.
They're drops.
Aliens that came down here and voted for in Georgia.
Ancient aliens. Gregorio.
That's right.
I'm not saying aliens, but
it's aliens.
It's aliens.
Yeah.
He came down here. The man had 7 fingers when he cast his vote. I saw him.
Yep, and he.
I didn't take a picture though. I didn't take a picture.
It was Gills. It was Gills. He was out of breath.
He had one vote, and he went like this.
Right. He had a 78 Mercury spaceship. I seen it.
And then it became a stack of votes. And then
was it a Cougar? Mercury Cougar, 78 Mercury Cougar.
Goddamn motherfucking Mercury Montenegro.
Oh, the Mount of Negroes. That's where they're going to send all the black people. But the point is, though,
we waiting on y'all. Go ahead and try it.
Yeah, they.
I'm telling you,
we waiting on y'all.
But isn't it funny though that they would have to blow up every election for the what's that?
FAFO.
I'm not familiar with that acronym.
Fuck around and find out.
Fuck around and find out. But you'd have to tear up every single election for the past at least 30 years, which have all run on somewhat of a similar system. But they don't want to do that. They want to look at only this particular election and say, oh, this is the one that we should cancel, but not all of the rest. Of course it isn't, because they've bought into this fandom. And it's almost like they want to go back and say, the Astros cheated in the World Series, so we should pull their World Series title and give it to the team that they beat, or the Reggie Bush USC team. You know, they vacated the title, but they didn't give the title to Clemson or whoever it was they beat that year. So, you know, you find it, you root it out. We're all for rooting out fraud. We're all for rooting out corruption. Right. We're all for rooting out taking money out of politics, taking out of the corporate interests and everything like that. Give us a new system, come up with a new system and put it in today, but don't try to sit there and pretend that you're going to redo this election because it didn't turn out the way that you wanted to in 7 states, but you don't complain at all about North Carolina where everything was exactly the same as the other states.
Yeah,
You got
gotta remember, if you're throwing out votes, you got to throw out the Trump votes that were in that pot.
How very Dave Chappelle of the Republicans, who is their newest member, and that is how you end a fucking show.
Right.
Yeah. Fuck Chappelle.
Well, there you go.
Mikey did it. I'm about to go watch For What It's Worth right now.
Mikey did it for us, and go fuck yourself, planet Earth.